先跟大家打个招呼吧。
大家好，我是 AF 主 Kale。
欢迎 Kale。今天你们交手的对手是 WBG 嘛？那今年2次和对方交手，你们都取得了比赛的胜利。所以在这一点上会让你对今天的比赛更有信心吗？你自己觉得有多大的把握？
올해 월보 상대로 도차르 경기 승리를 거뒀다는 점이 오늘 경기에 대한 자신감을 좀 더 높여줄까요? 그리고 본인은 얼마만큼만 승산이 있다고 보시나요?
아무래도 승산이 조금 있다고 생각하고 있고 한 70%로 이길까 하지 않을까 생각합니다.
可能之前的比赛胜利会多多少少给了点自信吧，然后把握的话是大概是70%左右。
70%的把握还是非常的有信心的。那今天呢，因为 Kale 在辅助位置上对位的选手二哈呢，其实2位在常规赛都有非常出色的表现嘛，分别获得了1阵的辅助和最佳新秀，所以很好奇 Kale 怎么看待在辅助间这个最佳与最佳之间的对决呢？
오늘 경기 스포라 매치가 이스프리 1군 진영 스포츠랑 베스트 루키 스포 간이 대결이잖아요. 두 분 다 지금 스포 라인에서 좋은 경기력을 보여주시고 있는데 본인은 오늘 경기 스포 라인의 대결을 어떻게 생각하시나요?
근데 크게 막 서포 대결보다는 그냥 팀적으로 어떻게 잘 움직이냐에 따라서 좀 많이 달라질 것 같아서 팀적으로 좀 준비를 잘 해야 될 것 같습니다.
不管是辅助的对局吧，还是要看整体队伍的发挥和动向吧。就这样。
好，那就期待你们整体队伍在今天赛场上的精彩表现。我们一会儿见。同样的，我们邀请到了 WBG Tap Tap 的打野选手天，先跟大家打个招呼吧。
大家好，我是 WBG Tap Tap 的打野天。
欢迎小天。那今天呢，在打野位置上，你要对位的是 Tarzan， 也是老对手了。想问一下小天，在心目当中觉得 Tarzan 是一位什么风格的打野选手？在面对他的时候，哪些细节比较重要呢？
觉得Tarzan是一个野区规划非常有自己想法的打野，就是有的时候他会做一些出其不意的事情，然后现在看他玩的操作的话也非常果断。
那在跟他对位的时候，你觉得哪些部分对你来说是最重要的？
觉得前期野区的一些进攻或者防守是最重要的部分。
那就期待你们今天在野区的碰撞。同样的，大家其实对你们2位也非常的了解啊，大家 经常能够在互联网上看到你们在端游的这个对话框里面有一些很可爱的小互动，想问一下，今天在赛前有没有跟 Tarzan 有这样的类似的互动？你对于今天的比赛有多大的把握和信心呢？
其实最近跟Tarzan选手也没有什么太多的互动，然后的话，对于今天的比赛，首先斌哥说闹剧结束了嘛，然后今天我想说喜剧要开始了。
好，那就期待你们今天书写什么样的故事了。我们一会儿峡谷见，比赛加油！
Hello, just changing the camera over in the background, so I'll be on in a second. Oh, is that okay? Of course, anyone's Legends Weibo. Tarzan versus Quanti. No, Tarzan versus Quanti is the big one for today. Okay, let's see if I need to reactivate and deactivate any camera stuff. What do you mean by rich? Hey, Kiwi, you could see it. That zoomed in too far now, isn't it? Hey, wait, you can share 1 bit? I should probably change that, actually. People are going to abuse that. Okay. Yeah, Sam will be with us shortly. And, yeah, we'll get ready for today. Yeah, how's my voice? It's doing good. It's doing good, Garrick. It's, the Weibo JDG thing really pushed me. Okay, so yeah, JDG lost to Weibo. Yes, that's why Weibo are here right now. That is why Weibo are here right now. JDG lost to them, and that means that we have AL versus Weibo in the winners bracket. So we had BLG top esports on the other side. BLG smashed them 3-0. It wasn't close. So, what are the big storylines heading into this? You know, Weibo, they're on their underdog run. They were, I guess, what seed were they really heading into this? 7th seed, basically. Yeah, they were basically 7th seed heading into this. Which is obviously very low comparative to where potentially we thought they could be. Who's more likely to challenge BLG out of these two? Anyone's Legend. They're, you know, they are a top 2 team. That being said, I mean, BLG just smashed Top Esports, our top seed coming into playoffs. It's a good question. The question is who actually can contest BLG right now, because I'm not sure anyone really can that well. Right, I need to get myself a thingy, what was I gonna say? The thing. I need to get a coffee. It's actually in the other room. I'm gonna go do that. I wish I could be more energetic all the time and give you a more professional broadcast.
观看2025英雄联盟职业联赛第2赛段，您可以通过英雄联盟客户端找上英雄联盟及英雄联盟赛事官网 LPL.QQ.com、虎牙直播、斗鱼直播、哔哩哔哩直播、咪咕视频、腾讯视频、腾讯体育、新浪微博、微信视频号进行收看。电视机前的召唤师可以通过百视通平台收看全程赛事。全新纯电 G 级越野车，越野图腾，御电峡谷。李宁英雄联盟泳池派对2025新品现已上市，3C 数码618，国补点以旧换新4折起。我在场就是主场，莫兹利安为 LPL 奶硬口。全新 OPPO Find X8 系列夜景人像神器，夜拍超清晰，人像 MVP。TCL 全屋智慧家电，峡谷英雄敢为不凡。2025 LPL 官方指定家电产品。更受电竞用户喜欢的能量饮料，有能量当然占马。傲风电竞椅连续5年中国电竞椅销量第1。开一局吗？开就开，保护有度度，尽情开一局。感谢全场保护的杜蕾斯。英特尔酷睿 Ultra 200HX 冷酷高手 AI 助攻，6边形战士来袭。
欢迎来到2025英雄联盟职业联赛第2赛段淘汰赛，这里是京东电子竞技中心，让我们有请 Anyone's Legend 微博 Gaming Tap
Tap。Thank you, Angie.
有请上单 Flanger。Breathe， 打野 Tarzan 天，中单 Shanks 小虎。下路 Hope Light， 辅助 Kale 2哈， LPL 第2赛段淘汰赛第4日的比赛将由 AL 对战 WBG TapTap， 比赛即将开始 ，LPL 无畏竞巅峰。
I like both of these teams, chat. I don't want to see either of them lose. I like both of these teams too, honestly. They're both very entertaining teams. AL are our grand strategists, and Weibo are our court jesters. Now, Weibo are a team which are so infinitely entertaining if they find their rhythm. They are wonderful at skirmishing and strange smoke and mirrors gameplay, topped off with just a ton of ability to just trip and fall and hit themselves on the head somewhere. Tabe's got something on his nose there. Is that him breathing, or is that for his glasses? And for anyone's legend, of course, they have one of the best. They have one of the best coaching player duos I've ever seen in the LPL in Tarzan Tabe. Who's Weibo support today? It'll be Erha. And of course, a big welcome if you're over on Onivia or on YouTube. Let's get it on. Actually, I think Onivia only just went live. I think it was being a bit slow though. Weird. Strange. Okay, well, we're live and everywhere now. Stylistically, I prefer Anyone's Legend, but I hate to see Xiaohu. I hate to see Xiaohu's goat drop out as he is a goat. Right? Okay. I think Xiaohu's been looking a lot better in these playoffs. Of course, they've only had 2 series. I suppose they've had the 2 series because they had the 3-0 versus TT, and then of course they had the 5-game series versus JDG. Weibo just knocked JDG out of their home arena in Beijing. We are playing on their stage the entirety of playoffs, and they did it in a 5-game bang. It's one of the best head-to-heads which I've ever seen within the LPL. That Ari ban is graphically weirded out. Removing that one. We're gonna go. So what's the plan here? Are we continuing on with the champion selects, or yeah? I thought it might end up being remade. Why is that faded? Because I'd imagine there was a problem with the champion selects, or it might be something that's wrong graphically. They might still be going on with it. So what might happen now is that overlay broke, and they might go back to the original champion select graphics, which you can come in from the sides. Are they still in draft? We don't get to see yet. No 1v1 side selects. We only get 1v1s for I'm sorry, I gotta turn the music up for this. This is so cool. Like, I love this music for Champions Select. I don't know what they've done to the soundtrack for this playoffs, but it's so cool. Tack, thank you so much for the resub. I appreciate it. Yorick first pick, bypassing stuff like the like Rumble. What else is priority? Varus. Rumble Varus could be locked in for Weibo here, and I think they'd be very happy with it. It's a very good combo, and Yorick's not the best at dealing with either of them, actually. Yeah, 1v1 is for Game 5 Champions Select if we get them. Flandre, he was, I believe, our All-Pro first top lane. No, it's 369, but Flandre was close as well. Pantheon. It's a very powerful pick, gives you that, gives you the global threat. Hey Sam, how's it going? I would have thought something like the Varus would be easy to lock in here. Rumble as well. Very different draft priorities for Weibo if they choose not to. The Pantheon I understand. I understand not wanting to give a global to a Yorick. Hey Sam. Yeah, doing well, doing well. Saying we were very entertained by Weibo just the other day. We'll have ourselves a broadcast here for you. LPL.
May have fumbled taking down Genji in the LCK, but not a casting.
What? Broadcast. Oh, broadcast. Right, I get it now. I get it. See, sometimes you need to add in context for people who don't watch the LCK. This is the LPL stream, so. That's true. Jin Varus trade, as far as that's Sam, you're gonna have to listen to the Champions Select music because it's really cool when it kicks back in again, and that's why we turn the volume up for it. Jin Varus, no surprise there, both strong laners, both able to follow up with CC from a long range.
Sorry, I'm vibing. Sorry, yeah.
Hey, Roshan, good to see you. Sorry, the rest of it, right?
Yeah, Shank's going to lock in the Azir long-range backline now. They don't have that global pressure for the Yorick just yet, though, which is something which can be a big pivot for the Yorick. If someone else can come to help him, it's a huge thing.
Big time. Then the Rumble's gotten all the way through to this point in the draft. That is locked in. It's unlikely we see the Rumble flex down bot side, but hey, who knows, with Ura having had an absolute stormer of a series, maybe he does have the Rumble in the back pocket.
It'll be top lane, it's a good matchup against the Yorick, and then you still get to have the Rumble Varus as like that team fight combo later on. I like Weibo's draft right now. I like Rumble Pantheon, and I like Varus Rumble as well. Lots of very easy CC to land to set up for Equalizer. Now Shanks does get the Azir, takes it away from Xiao, who has played it a little bit. What do AL want to ban? I would maybe think about banning something like Ryze, you know? I think that Ryze has been a big pick for Xiaohu and also good as a pick with that Rumble. Instead, choosing to go towards supports.
So, what are we now looking at in terms of our second phase of that? They are going to get rid of some of those AD skirmishes from Weibo game. They've already locked in the fact that they're perfectly happy. AD supports they're getting rid of right now. The ones that can roam. Help set up with that Varus.
I wonder whether they maybe even think about banning away something like, well, oh, the Vi was actually on ban.
Wow, very
about that. I was thinking about, oh, Wukong could be removed right now, but the Vi had made it through to that point in the draft, which is typically first bans in most major regions. Actually, it's been across the board really globally.
The Theory's still up, by the way.
It is, and Tarzan is very good at it, but AL don't have that much setup from the Theory right now. I think that they might be thinking about that Wukong instead, which is actually quite good. At defending your backline as well as Pantheon jumps in. Not the best matchup versus Pantheon early on though. Pantheon does win out in that 1v1. And of course Trundle could also be vaguely locked in. No tanks to make it that valuable, but there are a couple of options for those AD skirmishes.
But the decision is as we get to that point right now though. Weibo Gaming looking for their next pick. Engaged support certainly being a consideration. Leona was being hovered, but of course there are things like the Aurora up and available. Xiaohu's had some pretty good showings on that champion.
It's a big comfort pick for him. Huge comfort pick for Xiaohu in that mid lane. Has used that to beat JDG just the other day. Weibo on a hot streak. 3-0 to TT. 3-2 JDG, the third seed in playoffs, and now AL, the second seed, but only one run above them. It's not that much different from JDG, right? Hang on, they are actually hovering over the Nivea. Are you kidding me?
Belvet's being hovered as well. We've got
for those
Duo
of you in
other
chats, there's a person in our chat called Duo who is a huge Belveth enjoyer. Yeah. So the fact that it's even getting hovered there is the closest we've actually gotten to that being realized. It does end up being that Sejuani. You get the melee synergy from the Yorick, quite strong in the 2v2 there actually. And yeah, so they lock in that Sejuani. Tarzan, one of the OG players of this from back in LCK, back in 2018, 2019. That last pick, of course, is going to be an engaged support.
It will be. Okay, happy enough with their amount of pick now. The Yorick that well supported, but in some ways is that going to matter so much when your 4 is so damn strong. Weibo Gaming, their pick is very nasty. The Pantheon, the Varus, the Leona all setting up things like Rumble and Aurora, big old ultimates could be pretty difficult to manage if they can pull off the snap engage.
If Breathe gets items, AL are going to melt. They have an immobile AD carry, an Azir who doesn't like playing against stuff like Varus and Leona because he can often try and sit in his auto attack range with the soldiers and you'll get pinged with CC. AL needs to be very, very careful to not allow Weibo's first bit of CC to land within Equalizer response range. AL on the other side, they do have split push pressure with the Yorick, they do have good early lanes with Jhin and Azir as well to contest with that, but I do think Weibo come away with a winning draft for me.
But a good draft there for sure. Not that it's unplayable or anything by anyone's edge, let's make that very clear. However, the options to play for that pick, that snap engage that Weibo have been very good at, worry me a little bit there, I have to agree with you.
Is it me or just the voice a bit low? It might be us sitting away from the microphone, and it might also be the background noise, the music being a little bit loud as well. We'll sort that as we get into the game. Thank you for letting us know.
Hello YouTubes, how are we all doing over there? See you out there in Anivia's chat, and of course, Nymaera's YouTube channel alongside the regular Twitch chat experience as well.
I gotta go quickly do something in the background, folks. Well, Sam, you should think about the Gyos and things like that.
I can do
wonderful
that.
things.
I'm gonna
the
think
wonderful
about
narratives that we should probably be focusing on now that it's playoffs as well.
Yeah, I should do that. Go forth and do your thing. Speaking of good music, this strings line. That's a narrative. Whoa. What a beat. Onto the rift we go. Game 1 of this incredible best of 5 about to go. Have a listen to the crowd, shall we? Little bit of a look in there early on for a potential ward or two. Too much happening there on the other side. Need to get a ward down on those Raptors. Tarzan starting off with a red buff, getting a bit of leash time from his bot lane, actually feeling that they're going to fight the Varus and the Leona anyway. Want to give the Sejuani a bit of a boost in the early game. Have her skirmishing the Pantheon early on, getting invades coming on through, so trying to make that decision. Shouldn't be out of range here for any of the minions at the very least, but fighting for level 2 can be a little trickier. Bit of early shove here from the Aurora. We've got a lot of time with this champion, even after some nerfs come through. Some people haven't gone towards the Aurora quite as much. Xiaohu never really let the bunny go. Does love that Luden Shadow Flame build on her in particular. There's the Varus grunt somewhere out there. Amber is screaming. Over the soldiers. Trying to go for the weirding. Can't quite land it. Ends up eating a fair amount of soldier damage there as they are told to arise. Solo leveling is here when. The CC comes on down. Not too much to be seen. Hope holding on to that 4-shot Skyel. Threatening with the Shattering Strike. Win cons there from Flandre on that Yorick. Started at 0-2 and basically I feel like it's just been wins for him on the champion. Just feel like people have figured out how they want to play around it a lot better now. There's that podcast with Whippo, set up by Trouble Inc. and Iris. Wonderful show that's been. Combining some of our east and west regions in a more cool way. Yep. Nabs away a crab. We can look towards the mid lane here as it's a bit of a shove up from the side of Shanks. Now misses the attempted step back though. Try to get as much there I think he was hoping for, and Tarzan is around defending as well, so it all ends up being both junglers just hovering their mid lane. Shield vault in, turns around with an Arctic Assault, throws down the Comet Spear, and can look back to his Raptor Reach.
Yeah, just trying to force Shanks and Tarzan to be a little bit slow back towards their camps, gives Xiaohu a little bit more time. Tarzan is in top river though. Breathe, you gotta be careful. Wonder if he flashes for a follow-up, could be a problem.
Could be, flashes the Arctic Assault. Assumed that the Sejuani would be going into her own jungle and was not. Gets punished for it.
Yeah, Breathe pushing in that top wave. Little bit disconnected from what was happening in top river. TM was trying to delay Tarzan from being a bit more active after that point. Not quite enough to save Breathe's flash. Now you have to play the Rumble as flashes into that Dark Procession.
To get a bit dicey, that's for sure. Of course, with that much damage. Get started with the early null magic mantle, so
I don't know whether we sorted out audio stuff, but if you're in chat, please let us know how audio balancing is going. We can fix that on the fly, and yeah, hopefully give you the best audio experience I guess we can have available to us. So big things kind of coming into this series to me in terms of overall narratives. Weibo on a huge underdog journey right now. They came in as 7th seed overall in LPL playoffs, I think it was. And already beat that 3rd seed, going towards the 2nd seed now in Anyone's Legend, team which, I don't remember what that record versus them was in regular season. I can't remember that good, not going to lie. Though Weibo didn't have a good record versus many teams, actually.
No, they didn't. They were very decidedly mid-tier.
Yeah, they were. They really struggled a lot. They were 0-2 versus them. But the only team which they had a 2-0 versus was IG, by the way, which is just so fitting. Weibo, one of the teams which could just, be very, very inconsistent.
And notoriously so. The moniker for them for the last few years has been...
Looks like audio's a little bit loud for us still, so... There we go.
You reckon?
Chat's saying it.
Okay.
And chat agrees, so yes. There we go, just done it a little bit more. Hopefully that's fine now. As, early game, no significant advantage built just yet. We did say that Weibo, good composition, good ability to combo up with the equalizer later into the game, and I'll need to be very wary of that.
Dragon. Up and available, but no one's going to start that quite yet. But Grub's in a minute and a half, we'll keep our eyes on it. Yeah, also around the bot side. Baiting a potential dive here on a Flandre. He's not summoned his wife as yet. Shout out to one of our LEC pros shouting, "Kill the wife."
Is it LEC or NLC that was
I think it might have been Crowny, actually.
Yeah, I don't think it was LEC. I think it was a Lost Returns thing. I'm not as clued into the memes there, but Xiaohu now walking down, does have the ultimate, can hop over the wall with the WTN, can jump to him. Flandre does have the flash still, stunned up. That's a lot of CC.
Nice to walk away best he can, throws the dark possession. The pandas are there. One will go down and trade. TN will get out. To work from Flandre, at least take one with it.
Yeah, Joe basically says, look, I'm not wasting flash. I'm going to die for this. It'll be a 1-for-1, but it'll be worth it because there's going to be some missed XP and some missed farm from Flandre. So it's fine to just save that flash. Also, Leona flash very, very threatening onto the backline later. Very valuable tool. Flandre no flash, and he'll lose himself a decent amount of that XP, as we were saying. Breathe has the advantage there now.
Also just doesn't have TP, so he is going to lose the majority of that wave. No way to get to lane any faster. Ends up losing about 2 waves there, I think, actually, in the grand scheme of things, which kind of sucks as a Yorick, I'm not going to lie.
Especially in AL, one of their ways out of the Weibo combo is split push it. You just split until you die, or hopefully the enemy towers do first. Rumble, good wave cleared, now ahead to 20 CS, now ahead about half a level as well. Breathe was a player that was getting a lot of flack, like a lot of flack towards the end of the regular season. A lot of people were calling him out for being, performing very poorly. Versus JDG, I think he was very good versus Ala, and I think that here on the Rumble, having their 20 CS lead and a very good draft to showcase what he can do, this guy I've got a lot of eyes on. We'll see when he chooses to get first involved in the game. Doesn't have the teleport right now, won't be around these grubs if there's contest.
I don't feel like that's going to be much of an option. There is a level 6 on TM Explosive who wants to pull a Grand Starfall or something, but that would be, I suspect, a one-way trip into hell. And this isn't Malevelon Creek, so no need to go hunting for a claim.
Oh, I have been replaying. That grub looks like a Terminid to me. Super Earth to arms. I've been playing Helldivers again, and I realized that I had like the Malevelon Creek cape. So I was there at Space Nam. Tarzan, not spotted by Xiaohu though. 3 grubs over to the side of Annual's Legend. They do have the Yorick. Now, the thing is, Weibo have very good wave play. Very good wave play. Varus is good at it. Aurora's good at it. Rumble's good at it. They have 3 champions which can pretty much insta-delete a wave. And it's not the Poke Varus. I know it's not fully there, but you know what I mean, right? So, the 3 grubs from AL don't have to mean anything if Weibo are good at covering their lanes. Now, there are some cross maps that AL will be able to take towers quicker, especially with the Yorick involved too. It's always the case. That's something we'll have to pay attention to going forwards. Dragon now side of Weibo and AL looking like they don't want to contest.
Not like we're going to see the 3 grubs into swift rotation to a lane to just try and force an immediate turret trade and win that race with the grubs, which we do sometimes see actually at the minute, how potent the now singular set of grubs is. It wasn't like you had to wait for the second set of grubs to really get value out of them.
Yeah, true. It's nice to just have like that one dip, force hard with your summoners for those if you do need them in the early game, and then see what happens afterwards. Aaron Light, missing the Zenith Blade. Reminder, folks, Erha was double MVP of the game wins that Weibo had in the back end of the series, Game 4 and Game 5 versus JDG. He was on excellent form. So, would like to see him performing more towards that level rather than the missed Zenith Blade there. I mean, end of the day, probably would have just been the... Well, it probably would have been both Summoners Gone from Hope, actually, the Cleanse and the Flash, but not able to land that E from out of the Fog of War.
Does appear to be the case. It's Kyle, still in the enemy jungle, trotting around on the Rel, throws down a ward into the Crux. We're happy enough to reset here.
Just nice to get some extra vision onto the Pantheon, who has that ultimate now. You were calling about that earlier, saying, well, he could contest, blah, blah, blah. That's something which AL need to be vaguely having in the back of the head at every play now. Yeah, oh, he could be here. Oh, he could end up being in the area with that ultimate. It's one of the powerful things about Pantheon. Not only does he have a good early phase, he has, hang on a second, Breed does have Flash, but sometimes I get a little bit scared when the Morning Mist lands and that's slow, because they can put you into the Dark Procession and force something out of it. Not going to lead to much here, though, as Flandre tries to make up some of the deficit he had in XP and farm earlier.
Not going to turn into too much right now. Tarzan, though, has gone a bit of a run with Kyle. At one point, our de facto best jungle support duo in the LPL, arguably still is. They just had a week or two where things got a bit ropey. People started going, what the hell's happening at AL? That's not what we were expecting.
For sure. No, I think that's completely worthy to call out. First half of the split, my MVP would have been either Tarzan or Kyle. Second half of the split, as I've been saying on Twitter and stuff, I would have chosen someone like Knight instead. Breed does get caught in the Dark Procession, chooses to pull the ultimate, fight back. Don't think he can... Hang on a second, here he is. You have to ask that question. Where's the Pantheon? He comes in now.
Jill bolts in, looks to get the stun on up. TPs begin to fly. Will be slightly faster from the side of anyone's Legend. I don't think it's going to mean all that much here. As a second TP turns in, Xiao, who's there, gets involved with the kill. We'll be happy enough with that additional kill.
AL have locked in a comp without that global to support the Yorick, whereas Weibo have one to answer the Yorick, and you can see how that pivots around this pick. Suddenly we have the Yorick with 2 kills down, significant lead over towards his lane opponent, which can have a good matchup into him in that Rumble as well. And despite the fact that I do think AL are one of the best strategist teams within the LPL, I don't think they have the best draft here, and I think they're starting to fall behind in key aspects now.
Be a bit tricky. Actually, Tarzan steps on forwards, looks to try and get something there, can't quite do it. They're swift enough with the E press, and actually it's W, isn't it? Flips. No, sorry, right, E is the Zenith Blade. And will be out safety.
Actually, one of the most important things about Leona is you see a piece of CC heading at you out of Fog of War. How quickly can you react to make sure you are tanky enough to not get exploded before you press that W? It can be very important. So again, something to just keep in mind as the game goes on. Breathe, maintaining a half a level lead, going on towards a full level lead now, actually. Huge amount of XP over Flandre. Breathe, a guy that I think last year for Weibo, when Tarzan was his jungler, of course, on Weibo too, I think Breathe was one of the main reasons why Weibo got themselves to that summer finals. They were one of the main reasons why they got to Worlds knockouts. And he was one of the few top laners towards the end of the year last year within the LPL that could best someone like a Bin on his 2024 form. Now, Breathe took a step down this year so far. But there's just that question in the back of your mind. You think, oh, this guy has been a top laner within the LPL before. Currently doing well against Flandre, who I think by consensus has been one of the best top laners in LPL too.
Agreed.
If Breathe gets an advantage like this on a draft which enables him like this, I want to see what he can do. What's his current form? How high is the ceiling today?
I know that a lot of the community centered around Shanks has really stepped up as well. He's had a very good split. Shanks, actually, I think he and Hope have been very consistent for anyone's Legends. Some people like Cream, for example, over on Top Esports has maybe had a bit more of an up and down experience. Xiao, who's been exactly that as well. But let's be real, Xiao, whose ability to carry, not necessarily as potent as we would be hoping, even if some of the playmaking's been really good.
Yeah. Breathe still hasn't been as consistently good as he was in 2021. Absolutely sure. But then Breathe was something, he was a man unleashed in that year. But still, it's just that question you have in the back of your head, right? That's one of the beautiful things about the LPL. There's a bunch of players hanging around thinking, oh, these guys are really good if they get their act together. In fact, we've built entire teams out of them. TFC will know about that. There's a team called Invictus Gaming which fit that bill. His track is up in 20 seconds. Weibo, I want to see if they bring the Rumble to the party soon at some point. Now, he's fine wave clearing against the Yorick. I guess you don't want to give him a free side lane with the 3 grubs, but I want to see when Breathe is going to join the equation, because Weibo's comp sets up very well for it.
Who will throw down a weirding and spot out Tarzan, who was in that bush. Second Dragon is up and available. Weibo debating starting it up. Down in the river right now. off on a flank. Kyle about to go face check the Leona. We'll trade out some CC. Let's get the Aftershock down.
That's a lot of CC.
Absolutely blown apart. As the chain comes on, chain of CC comes on through Breathe now. In a 1v1 with Flandre that he's losing because the Maiden's doing a lot of work. Throws down some of those scrap shields flashed over the wall. Flandre looking to follow up, though, and has a Nimbus cloak. Decent shield there with the scrap shield. Trying to turn it back around with something, but is missing the morning mist. A last strike would be the death.
Oh, the shield!
Who gets another scrap shield, but I don't think it changes anything. He's going to have to execute here. How on earth did that one start out?
That's a great question. The equalizer didn't look like it was on that good angle for Breed, so he didn't get the most value there. And also, Tien was not coming up towards that top lane with the ultimate. He was at that dragon, so Flandre could take a much harder trade. The Yorick getting the kill in that matchup does change things significantly. However, with taking so long to die, he won't get access to the turret, which is still one of the goals accomplished by Weibo. At the end of the day, you don't want the Yorick to be hitting towers with 3 grubs. You don't really want to die at the same time, though.
Shoves pretty damn hard and then almost gets out. Good scrap shield usage, I give that to Breathe, but the problem was the fight was already lost. It was a matter of how long it was going to take.
Luckily, plates have fallen off, so not going to get value from that chunk onto tower there from Weibo, but Flandre now ahead in terms of gold. That is always the worry. Can they kill the wife? No, they can't. No, not matricide. That's killing your mother, isn't it?
Yeah. Matricide is siblings.
Yeah, or family, I guess. Or also applies in a military context, too. So Breathe chose this fight. He chose this fight. The kill comes down on top, so I guess he's trying to make sure that there's no teleport coming through. And the equalizer's not good, basically. The equalizer's not good. I think if that's on target, it's much more playable. We saw how close it was. Breathe could do quite well, actually, at kiting out and trying to ping with harpoons to stay just out of melee range, but couldn't quite get enough damage through from that equalizer, and Flandre walks away with the trade.
Does indeed. Nice pick up there. Thought he would try and use the level 11 spike, couldn't land the equalizer. And also didn't have the Salt Pen boots down yet, but yeah, Grand Starfall flash over the Emperor's Divide to prevent getting shoved back, and Tien with a very nice pick there. 100% kill involvement right now for the Weibo jungler. Pretty comfortable here on the Pantheon.
Yeah, Tien versus Tarzan has been a top-level matchup. Breed's getting caught out. He does have the ultimate. Does he get it down in time to get some wave play? He does, just about. Kills the Maiden at least, I think. Just about. But another death to Breed. That's not something that Weibo want to happen. The top laner that we were just praising, dying twice in just as many minutes.
Good moments from them. That's a 3rd kill now for this Yorick. They want that wink on. There's the first turret as well. Good for them. Ura now in danger. Needs to sidestep that deadly flourish. He does. Throw down the Herald into mid lane. Shattering Strike. Turn around with the Zenith Blade. Ura now in melee range of a lot of people. The teleports begin to fly. Solar Flare coming on down. Turret about 2% HP. Ura flashed up. It's hit by the deadly flourish. So much CC. And there's nowhere for the Leona to go. But a vengeance for earlier when Kyle got picked up around the dragon. Tien is here. It's not going to change all that much. And the curtains are called. And Weibo being asked to take a bow. Light tanks up a lot of them. The 4th shot goes wide. And the reviews just aren't quite in time.
All that's happening. Flandre just took the top lane in a turret. That's why he's still around here. Shahu's going to walk towards him. Dodge that on the morning mist. But I don't think Shahu's going to get that much more. So it's 2 turrets in top lane. It's a mid lane in a outer turret as well. It's a couple of kills on the board. We were saying that, you know, anyone's legend, they needed to find a way to get the split pusher online. Strategically, they were getting a bit outvalued by Weibo, who was shutting down this Yorick. Blink and you miss it. Almost a 2,000 gold lead over towards Flandre. The map is opened up as well. Anyone's legend and one clean maneuver over the last couple of minutes have seen themselves into a very good spot now compared to where they were.
Well, they might be anyone's legends, but they're my legends too. As the moment I said that, maybe I am cursed to forever support teams that can't quite succeed. No, Tarzan gets out to safety. Q. Flandre eats a bit of electrocute damage, begins to walk at Shahu in the morning. This comes on through between World is used by Shahu, throws out a decent weirding and some changes there with the 2-fold hexes, and Flandre doesn't win those. Get through the passive cycles a few too many times.
I mean, Flandre says, I've got Merc Treads, it'll be fine. Shahu just dunks on him. He just dunks on him, even with the Triforce. The Aurora, very strong in, you know, being able to hop out of the Dark Procession and various skill shots. Shahu, this is a comfort pick for him for a reason.
I just want to remind people that when Aurora first released, people went, oh man, she's going to be really good topside for the anti-tank potential. But as long as you can get through that passive a few times, remember how much percent HP that thing does if you get through 3 or 4 rotations. Have a look, because he starts it off. Gets a lot of damage down immediately.
Yeah, and you know, Flandre walks up for a Q, but this is the power of having that ultimate to hop over terrain, the ability to get your passive for the healing, and the move speed, and the everything. Flandre goes down, and that 2,000 gold lead, once again, shrinks a little bit, because Flandre misses out on a bit of farm, and of course, Shahu now 2-0-1. If he jumps into the backline with 2-3 items, yes, I know they're not the bursty ones, but it's still Aurora, those carries are going to start feeling the heat.
And the Leandri thrower, a little less good at the upfront team fight burst, but in the side lanes, in the extended trade, very obnoxious. Zera goes over the wall as Dragon's spawning shortly, so that will flash away. Solar Flare a little wide, trying to catch both and ends up getting neither.
Yeah, Era, a player that we've really had our eyes on, not necessarily delivering the promise of last series. Tarzan jumping towards her, and that Dragon has spawned. Will we see our first teamfight equalizer? We've yet to see one of those this game. Yes, Breathe is behind in the individual matchup now, but that Rumble has so much setup for him.
Banana Bush being fought over. Tarzan throws down a Glacial Prison, lands it onto the Pantheon. Turnaround
Not sure about that.
And that equalizer between worlds is brutal. Into the backside with the Zenith Blaze. Keep people interested. About to get hit by the Permafrost and just go down. Hope free firing. Also Shanks in a scary position, getting a lot of damage down. Reset trying to come on through from Tien. He does have the ult to potentially return and join the fight again. Light's dead, as is Ura, and it's only Kyle who gets traded.
Light ends up being caught out in an awful position. He is the on-hit variant, not the poke. You can't stand at the range you want to. Xiaohu around, but doesn't see Tarzan.
They've jumped on into the Emperor's Divide, and they lose another member. Atakar now up. In goes Tien. He's in a 1v4. Does take out the Azir at the very least. Where's the rest of the squad? Just not here. And so they lose a jungler as well. Weibo Gaming lose their bloody minds.
Well, that's a Weibo special. We'll go for it and see what happens. Xiaohu gets caught out. Tien did have that ultimate. It's why he wanted to reset for it. But instead of finding themselves the victory, they will lose the Dragon, they will lose the Atakan, and they'll lose 2 kills for just the one in return. Anyone's Legend, again, making better decisions around the map in the last 5 minutes or so. We're going towards the replay. Tarzan, I don't think this is a good ultimate. You go into a Pantheon who gets the pop his E very well. Equalizer's not fantastic, actually, because it doesn't hit the backline. It hits Kael, that's about it. You know, you kill the Rel, fine, cool. Doesn't stop, no Hope from jumping forward like this. I think Light's positioning, very suspect here, and I think his flash over the wall was a little too late. I think you have to understand you can't sit in the Azir soldiers the way that he did, so Light will have to fix his positioning for that next fight too.
Yeah, Shanks just got to stand and deliver that entire time, and Hope also got a lot of damage off, and weren't threatened really by the Between Worlds and the Equalizer in a meaningful way. Innovel Tien comes in and goes 1-for-1. The Atakan, I suppose, was already likely to go down, so you may as well take somebody with you. Still, exactly the best moment ever. It is now only Tien and Xiaohu on their team with a mild gold lead of 200 apiece, and what a game-breaking difference that is. Problem is the rest of the map's not looking fantastic.
The gold's not out of control yet, though, I will say. The gold's not completely out of control. You know, yes, sizable lead for Anyone's Legend, but it's not like you don't have your own item spikes coming through. Anyone's Legend, they have more tools to play with right now, though, I think, particularly with just such overwhelming map pressure from the Yorick, and I really think that Tarzan on the Sejuani being very able to walk forwards and not be picked off, I think there aren't many players on Weibo that can say the same thing.
That's probably fair. Shanks turns to this top side. Of course, the 2 turrets were claimed not by Sauron or anything, but by Flandre on an earlier shove. Towards the mid lane we go. Hope throws down the full shot. Hits that turret for a bit of damage and backs away. I just feel right now that Weibo's Gaming's map is very small for it's only a 2,000 or so gold lead. Be underselling that a little bit more, like 2.5, but still, gold lead is there, but not like, oh my days, this is unplayable levels. The map state, though, isn't exactly fun.
Yeah, you know, they are only the 1 turret taken for Weibo, 4 on the side of Anyone's Legend. It does mean, of course, that if they leave an opening, there's a lot of standing gold for Weibo to go claim. That's a Pantheon ult down towards the bot center, lands right onto Flandre.
Inside the Dark Possession, the Equalizer forces an awkward path out from Flandre, slowed down by the Chilling Smite. Ura about to be jumped on as well, tries to flash away to Flandre, hit by the Weirding. Ura trying to buy a lot of time. Shanks is also TP dabbing now, he's split up. Ura just out of range of that Glacial Prison. Now Shanks in a 1v3 for now, but overcomes the rest of Anyone's Legend. Shut breathe into the remaining members coming on in. Shanks will die. It's a 1-for-1 at the end of that particular sequence. Light and Ura looking at Hope, who does manage to run away. Tarzan in danger. The Locket comes on down, trying to keep him alive, will not do so. Xiao goes to the shotgun blast with the Weirding, and will continue to hunt for other members. It is the Varus that picks up that Sejuani, and ends up being 3-for-1. Not bad for Weibo.
It's very good for them, and again, that gold lead we were saying was there, but not the biggest thing ever. Doesn't impact this fight, and now it's gotten smaller afterwards. Weibo have been using the Pantheon ult insanely well. Tien has had ups and downs. He has been one of the most inconsistent members for Weibo, but you must remember the power which Tien can have as a peak player. Comes in with the ultimate, realizes that, look, yes, Flandre beat me in a 1v1, I have more teammates coming, and I have them coming sooner as well. Shanks comes down to the plate, not soon enough to save the Yorick, and a lot of the gold lead goes with it when the Yorick goes down. After that, of course, it gets even worse because your team is completely split up. Shanks, one of your DPS pieces, does not have any front line between him and the enemy team, tries to sweep things into a better position, but just can't position himself quite soon enough to get himself into a position to do damage.
Valiant effort, but valiant effort is not in the end a win. Tarzan tries to run away, but Tien gets to shield vault onto Tarzan. That is the correct order of operations. Back away on that one.
Worth noting, by the way, I saw a stat popping up while we were getting ready in the background. Tien Tarzan, all-time 17-17
no
wins and
way.
losses. This jungle matchup has been so cool to watch over the years. Tien currently having a really good time of it, but it's not like Tarzan hasn't impacted the game either. With the dragon coming up, perhaps the smite key will also be tested between these two venerable championship-winning junglers.
Dragon out here. Weibo and, of course, anyone's legend play for this one. AL claimed the last dragon and a big old fight afterwards. They got Atakan and Weibo kind of went in bit by bit and got in a lot of trouble. Does feel like in the 5v5s, AL, if they can survive the burst of the Equalizer and Between Worlds, a really nasty, consistent team fight angle. The same position that cost them so much last time. In goes Ura, tries to find a backline access, will likely die for this, does so. Flash out from Hope keeps him alive. Between Worlds comes on down, the Equalizer is burned as well. They just don't get anything in that fight.
Oh, and again, once again, AL getting the better of the team fight so far. It's been Weibo playing around, you know, stuff like the Pantheon ult, which has given them advantages, and Weibo might have just lost themselves a chance to get a soul point, and indeed they have 2 dragons apiece. AL taking the last 2 back-to-back, despite the fact that Weibo started well in the game on that front. AL, you know, once again showing that they are very good in those 5v5s with this kind of comp.
On the other side, if you don't get the mother of all Between World Equalizer combos, it just doesn't feel like you have that much damage. The skirmishes are fine, the 1v1s are fine, and ult's mid, but to what end? There's nothing really there to be found as Shanks slides away. Tien may have the most gold in the game, but you're not really managing to leverage it into anything game-winning right now.
Look, it was a flashless Azir. If you miss positions, you flash for the stun, and then that potentially is a kill. I don't mind looking for that. I think that's actually a decent play of it. You know, it's not the one which gets the value for Tien, but, you know, he's gotten good value out of his ultimate throughout the game so far. I respect the angle. Xiao going to return to base. He can get himself a 3rd item soon. Looks like he's going towards that crypt loop.
Going to get that one completed, and there it is. In fact, as you speak about it, has a bit more pen to work with and a little bit more ability. Has to go cycling through a few more of those rotations.
Yeah, Breed's going for the Bloodletter's Curse as well, so he'll be applying that AoE magic resist shred across the entire team. See how much value that can get. Tien looking to be the face checker. Quite hard to be a face checker against this kind of comp, which can, you know, fling a Sejuani ult at you. If you don't get that Pantheon E up in time, CC into death. A real possibility. AL pushing up on the map, and you were saying this before, actually, and I think it's still the case. The gold lead might not be crazy, but the map state for AL is better. They have way better presence on those towers in the side lanes right now, with 3 more taken than Weibo's just 1 tower killed.
An Infinity Edge done on this Jhin now, alongside the Ghost Blade and the Rapid Fire Cannon, so actually a very slippery customer as Hope upgrades the boots as well, so locking down this Jhin with the fleet footwork, with the passive, with the Ghost Blade, with the range he's playing with, it's already being difficult. Ura went careening into the backside on Hope, and they just could finish him off. Yeah. And that's going to happen, I think, time and time again this game. The Ryalize is done for this Azir. He's not exactly an immobile target himself. I worry for Weibo in these team fights about how they bring down the Azir and the Jhin in good order.
Yeah, double HP items of Ryalize and Leandries, has the Merc Treads upgraded into the Chain-Laced Crushers, which means you have a Magic Shield, Tenacity, and a bunch of HP. The Shanks did die very quickly in that bot lane play that we saw from Tien, ulting down to kill Flandre and then Shanks afterwards. If he is separated, still an Azir. Not the tankiest person ever known to man. 2.5 minutes until Dragon. And AL doing a better job this time of not giving easy Pantheon ult targets. Tien is about to hit level 16. He'll get himself the extra passive armor penetration from that, and also the increased cooldown. Tarzan and the teleport from Shanks, they want to go straight on to Breathe. Weibo going to come here in time? No, they're not. The teleport fails.
Tried to TP out, but it was always going to be a bit of a fool's errand. Is displaced by the Dark Possession, hit by the Glacial Prison. and sent into a very icy grave.
Despite a good start to the game, Breathe has been caught out on weak side numerous times, and AL have been pouncing on every opportunity. Now with 3 grubs, a wave coming behind them, this will be a very quick tower take, and Weibo, they don't have a cross map. They just realize, okay, we give up the kill, we give up the tower, nothing else that we can really do. They get a ward around Baron, and that's about it.
At this point, Weibo have only managed to get 1 turret this game. That's it. Single turret, and then all the while, everywhere else, Anyone's Legend way ahead in terms of that map control. Back up to 2,500 gold lead, a lot of it. And that top lane in particular, 3k lead now for Flandre. He's picked up a Jack show. Even more obnoxious in these team fights. Burst heavy comp from the side of Weibo on the whole, with equalizing between worlds and all the rest of it. Pick is fantastic. Team fights, as we said, a little bit tricky if you're trying to blow up this Yorick in relatively swift play. Not the Q. I could have, there's probably a better way of phrasing that. Swift play is not quite what we're playing. It's regular Summoner's Rift experience, but still, point largely stands. Minute or so until next dragon as well. Soul point, I feel, over to the side of Anyone's Legend. They can make it happen.
Been really impressed with AL about how they recovered what was quite a difficult early game with the Rumble getting ahead of the Yorick, and then Weibo seemingly having good playmaking tools. They start the Baron now, they can tank it well with the Sejuani, Azir can DPS it well. Now Weibo, they will have to engage into the 5v5, which they've not really managed to succeed at in this game so far.
Baron's going down, we have no idea what the HP is. They need to put a ward over there, and it's just gone. Can't get there in time.
Okay, they don't want to throw the game to look for a Baron steal, which I guess with the gold lead,
Dragon then.
It's okay. Dragon is up now, but it's not that soul point. It's a bit of a flimsy ultimate thrown out by Tarzan.
Trying to catch someone in mid lane before they could get over there. Didn't quite cheat the tempo. And the shove in mid lane does come on through. They're down that additional ult.
They have the 3 grubs and they have the Yorick. They can get an entire inhibitor here. Weibo, we call them for being a good smoke and mirrors team. AL are very good macro too. They put Weibo into a difficult scenario. And yes, the dragon goes down, but they might lose in a full inhibitor turret. Top lane being prepared by Shanks too.
He's definitely throw against the weirding down. Good chunk onto Hope. That's not bad news, and we'll make sure that they don't want to stick around too aggressively here. Shanks also shoving on his top side. Big wave with a double cannon there as well. That inhibitor turret likely to fall. Kyle. Right as Zero went looking for an engage, can't quite find it. Is low. The bullet time, curtain call, sorry, is interrupted briefly before they lose the Leona. Into the backline they go, like also down between worlds they go, and Weibo Gaming are falling apart. The team fight in their own base. It's game off the shove. Anyone's Legend just shove and win as 3 members fall.
Anyone's Legends macro was just better this game. Light struggled to have any impact on the Varus, and Weibo struggled to keep up with the fancy footwork across the lanes from Anyone's Legend.
Weibo tried to get the dragon. They tried to make the defense of the inhibitors happen. It just goes wrong. And Anyone's Legends just grind their way through them all and find themselves a game 1 victory.
Anyone's Legend, fancy stuff coming out of that mid to late game macro. Really don't think it's worth nitpicking about when and where Tien was inconsistent, Karma and chat, by the way. You get the point. Stop arguing about it. Tien, a player that was very inconsistent. I think he had a good game here, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough to see Weibo through to a victory. I think, sadly, for Weibo, Breathe on the weak side was... I think Breathe on the weak side was very exploitable for the side of Anyone's Legend. And I think that Light on the Varus didn't get value. I almost wonder whether he should have just gone for the poke Varus because it's easier to position. He really struggled to get any damage down on that Varus.
Yeah, I agree. And I think then you got into this position where it was like, look, the Yorick's died a few times, but it's still 3k up with 3 items and turrets falling down. Like, that is a very scary position to be.
That'll be our first game. So, Anyone's Legends take the advantage as the upper seed. Remember that Weibo did go, I think it was 1-1, and then they went down to match point. They've won the last 2. They are a team that can very much fall behind, reassess, and come back in a game. So, Weibo will have to showcase that skill set again.
Do you think it's going to be doable? Do you think they can actually, like, in terms of, like, obviously Weibo had that insane win against JG. See what the highlight is. Do they... I worry here if they draft like this against Anyone's Legend, though, that Anyone's Legend just play relatively calm and don't buy into the Weibo madness.
I don't think you have a choice all the time, do you?
I
don't think you have a choice.
I give you that point. I give you that point.
Yeah, Weibo, this composition, I thought they came ahead with the draft win, so it's a little bit of a pain that they didn't see that. Yeah. They fumbled that, but the thing which is worrying for me Weibo didn't win a single team fight that game.
No.
AL were far better in the 5v5s, and that could be an issue. And of course, as mentioned in chat as well, it's a blue side win for anyone's legend. Against JDG was all 5 games won by blue side, and that means that if it does go the distance, we will have to consider champions the side select into it as well. So Weibo, they will go back to the drawing board and see whether they can bring us back to an even series. I want to see a good series.
Yeah, me too.
Like, it's Tien versus Tarzan. You know, I'd like to see Flandre versus Breathe as well. I think that's a good matchup there. I expect a lot out of Weibo now that they've beaten JDG, which is probably why they're going to lose, because as soon as you expect things of them, that's where they check it in. They are the KT roster of our region right now.
Yeah, I mean, is there any other team that says KT as Weibo? IG maybe?
Huh?
I'm trying to think any other team that says KT is Weibo.
Oh, okay. No.
Maybe?
No. Like, IG are inconsistent, but like, there's levels between like IG, which are, you know, significantly inconsistent, and Weibo, which are one of the most confusing teams in the world. And the thing is, I actually think Weibo are even more confusing than KT Rolster, because Weibo actually succeed and get to international events doing this.
Yeah,
like,
they do.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like,
they do.
KT Rolster are more famous because they're from the LCK and more people care about Korean League of Legends. Weibo reached a World Finals doing this shit. They've reached a World Semi-Finals doing this. They've reached LPL Finals doing this. KT, they're funny, but they don't actually get success. Weibo actually do, and that's even more confusing.
Like, there is a world where one day they pull the ultimate KT Arrows experience and coin flip their way to like an international
That would
title.
be insane.
Like, they just take on the mantle.
The funny thing about that is that we were talking about IG earlier. Of course, Rookie was on that team which achieved that because he was the Season 4 OGN Summer Champion with the KT Arrows. God, what a time that was to be alive. I missed what
Arrow was the AD carry player as well?
Yes, it was. Yep. It was Arrow, Chani, Rookie, Kakao, and the top laner was... It wasn't Insec at that point, was it?
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
It was, it was People, folks. It was People. Just early kill from Shaggy, by the way.
The fact that I had to think, wait, there was a top laner called People tells me a lot about LCK top laner names.
Yeah. 2023 Weibo players run until they faced T1 was disgusting from the Shy. The thing about that finals was, for some reason, they chose blue side versus T1 for 3 games, and they never gave top lane counterpick. Zeus got counterpick all 3 games, and that was unplayable, basically. So yes, the Shy definitely played poorly, and he had the worst KDA of any player in a World Finals ever. I don't know why Light was just dancing around there and not flashing over the wall early. Big mistake to stand for. Light had a very poor game, folks. It's a very poor game.
I think who gets the MVP this game? Maybe Shanks was really consistent.
I actually think Tarzan was pretty good. Flandre got a lot of gold. He got a lot of gold, but I don't.
A few times, yeah. Options available.
Hope was pretty good. I don't know, pretty hard.
It was a good team effort.
Yeah, good discussing until finals. Yeah, no, that's what I mean, Blade. But in terms of what I'm doing is like giving a caveat to the finals, which of course was much worse for him. But I'm like, he's very good. The finals, a lot of people dunk on him harder than they should because he never got given counterpick in finals, which was a big problem.
And then the question is, why did that happen? Is it because of the Shy egoed it and said, I won't need counterpick against this nerd? Yeah. Or was that a general strategy that just didn't work out? It go very poorly. I think part of the thing as well is that the Shy is never going to be a Shy top laner, which is ironic really considering what he is. But you're then going to be in bad matchups. You aren't exactly playing to how the Shy likes to play League of Legends very well. Additional story as well, speaking about Arrow, of course, is now a coach over for FlyQuest in LTA.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he is. He's over there as a coach, and his protege in Masu gave him a bowl cut last night.
Oh my god!
So there is an awful picture of Arrow with his luscious bun now turned into a bowl cut, and FlyQuest and everyone else is like, wait, what? But yeah, Arrow now has a bowl cut. Speaking of LCK Season 4 champions.
Oh yeah, in this game too. Do you need a break for anything, Sam?
Possibly to go buy us some breakfast.
Sure.
Cool. Would you like me to buy you some breakfast?
Sure, why not? I'll put on our break now and we'll play some words on the stream. Oh, man. They turn the camera for a little bit. Wait, no, I can do it. Wait, I can do it on the other side. Oh, whatever, it's fine. Man. Fun fact. Let me think. Pandas are the only species of bear that don't hibernate because their diet is so nutrient deficient that they can't store up enough resources to hibernate over winter. They have to keep eating bamboo. Are we believing in Weibo? No, you don't believe in them, and that's when they actually get success. And it was Flogger against the MVP. He played pretty well on the whole. The thing is that I feel like this is just Yorick gaming, but he did play very well versus in that 1v1 on top side and then, you know, got ahead of the game. Honestly, the winner of this is just whoever's shot calling the macro. I really shouldn't look at viewership numbers. It really just makes me depressed. Like, so, yeah. Just looking at viewership numbers and it makes me sad. Because we put a lot of time into LPL. And, doesn't really feel like we're growing. Like, what are we at right now on Twitch? So Twitch we're at under 200. Olivia's I think peaked around 400 or something for first game. My YouTube stream's at about 50. And like, I don't know, we're good at what we do in terms of casting, but it's a lot of time to put into this. So, you know, because with the viewership that we have, we get paid less than minimum wage for this job, folks. For streaming 150 hours a month. Yeah, I know that, Harold. But then you look at this is when the viewership's meant to be at peak, Harold, because it's playoffs. And you've got like LPL English at 6K. They were normally hanging around 3K, so it's about double viewership for them. They hit 11K the other day. You've got other co-streamers hitting about 150, 100 as well, so they're catching up to us. So not only are we not growing, other people are. So we're basically, actually, if you put that in context, we're actually regressing. Even though Nivea is not getting as many viewers as it was, which is still most of our viewership. Saw you on LEC last night. What happened to Fnatic? Apparently huge internal issues from what the coaches are saying in terms of day-to-day effort and work ethic. Yes, Harold, but that's the case before. No, I Will Dominate's always streaming. No, that like, I know it's like trying to be kind and give caveats and stuff, but the reality is we're not growing. Despite the amount of hours that we're putting in, the clips that we try and farm, and like, you know, we put clips onto Reddit and stuff like that. Like, it's not like we don't do any marketing for ourselves. It's just we're not growing, and it's not something that you can just work your way through. Need to spread more propaganda. I mean, to an extent, yes, but I guess people just watch LPL English now instead, right? It's the problem with having competing streams, right? We're competing with LPL English, which have better search engine optimization. You know, why would people go to a secondary cast if they're doing a good job, you know? You should think of a gimmick? No, that would be... No, but then that ruins the stream for people who are here for the actual job that we do. Our gimmick is we are good at League, we are good at casting, and I'm the most knowledgeable LPL caster in the world. That's the quote-unquote gimmick. The gimmick is... Our selling point is that we are the best casters that cover LPL, and we do it in 1440p, so it's the highest resolution as well. Like, Sam and I are tier 1 casters. We cast for LEC. That's the gimmick. But, yeah. Thank you, Aztec, I appreciate it. I know, it's just really depressing being like, we put... I was, you know, we were doing this before LPL English too, right? Because we did an extra year of this. LPL were doing this... They started up this year when the whole broadcast went, but we covered the half of the games that weren't covered last year. It just sucks, right? Because, you know, how many hours do we stream this? Let me go through... Let me go through the amount that the last few months that we've been doing this. How many hours have we done this year? So we've done 106 hours so far this month. What about last month? 150. What about this one? 73, because that was the start of the split. So we've done, you know, 50, 250. We've done like 325, 350 hours of streaming of LPL for this split. That's this split, obviously. But it's like, you know, I'm burning myself out for this. I'm burning myself out for this. I'm putting a ton of effort in and a ton of time into this, and you know, what's it getting us? I've been trying to post a bunch of short content, I've been trying to market it, I guess. Post clips on, you know, TikTok, YouTube, Reddit. Actually, we're now regressing in viewership in playoffs. So that raises the question of, you know, why do it at all? You know, if it's not actually growing, why would we put effort into something that's not going to give returns? Isn't it that less people watch best of fives in general? No, absolutely not. Playoffs is like, but for LPL, playoffs is like 10 times viewership sometimes. No, like when it comes around to playoffs, it's like 10 times viewership. It's no way do people lose viewership when it goes into playoffs. And in terms of global audience, sure, but this is compared to this year. No, this year, I mean, like we were getting, you know, up to like 300 viewers, and now we're not cracking, you know, 200. We should be getting an increase in playoffs, and we're not. Couldn't you go be a caster for LPL English? They didn't ask me. They didn't ask me. So no. Like coming into this year, LPL didn't ask. And I mean, like I do have issues with like being part of collaborative broadcasts. Ask them. That's not really how it works. You know, they get the people that they want. Also, it's just kind of depressing being someone that put, you know, 2-3 hours of the 2-3 years of their life into LPL to not be, I don't know, guess valued like that. No, they didn't ask, so you take it up with them, honestly. Now, yeah, I don't know what the conversation was, but obviously they've got a bunch of people there and they've got enough people for the job, and you know, they're doing a good job of it, and I'm happy for them. Yeah, it sucks for myself, I guess. People, international fans, mostly just watch for their teams. No, they watch hype matchups. And they watch whatever the co-streamers do, right? But they watch late stage of players for LPL, regardless of who's there. Yeah, they can't exactly interact with their chat because their chat's fucking huge, right? Probably doesn't help the fact that I'm going emo on chat like every stream now anyway, because I'm burned out and upset. LPL viewership really depends if Casual's streaming or not. Well, for our stream, it matters when he's not streaming, because when he's not streaming, his chat goes elsewhere. Because a lot of people will only watch Casual, and then when Casual's off, they'll find something else to do. Again, he's big enough that it's a significant increase when he's not streaming. But that's, you know, that's just the nature of any big streamer, I guess, who shares the space. And, you know, it makes me think, like, especially with viewership going down and stuff, is it, you know, are Sam and I just getting burned out? Are we giving worse casts? Are we not doing the right thing during our casts to be entertaining? Is there more stuff I could have done? Is it me making mistakes? Hey, G. See you. Right, into game 2, and our draft for it. So, what are our big power picks? Stuff like Yone, potentially quite powerful. Well, I guess with Sejuani down, loses some power. Kalista. Sion Bandaway is one of those tank top laners. I guess with the Yorick gone, it's much easier to pick those tank top laners. The Ahri banned away. So Pantalia, the easy pick in here now. What do you have that answers as Talia? Sometimes you can play something like the Silas. Early Nidalee top pick. Blind pick Nidalee top lane with the Vi jungle. So it's a strong laning pick, but surely you'd like to instead pick it as a counter pick. Surprising to me. And technically, I mean, Vi Nidalee, I mean, you can set up the ult for the spear. It's not an AP Nidalee, but it does mean that Nidalee can just gun you down, single target. Light gets a Kalista, which she's very confident on. Look towards someone like a Renata. Yep, that's a problem. There's no Jhin, no Varus. Do you have to lock in someone like Miss Fortune? What do you have that can survive this lane now? I think you have to lock in... You have to lock in something bot lane related, right? Otherwise you're going to get double banned onto stuff that can survive the Kalista Renata. Ezreal, maybe? Ezreal might be okay, can survive that lane. Miss Fortune, I guess, could be okay. Are you really not locking in any bot lane pairing? The Orianna for Shanks, you have Vi Orianna. Now it's a decent burst combo. Hard to play the Vi into the Kalista Renata, and now into the bailout as well. Very difficult. Jungler's now being banned away from Weibo. I suppose that's the negative of them not locking that in. How many junglers now can you lock in that could give Vi issues? Now, we've seen bits and pieces of Trundle, but Trundle, again, likes to have a tank on the table to shred. Ezreal's now gone for Hope. That's the... it's one of the rough factors for not locking in any bot lane champions when you see that Kalista Renata. Now, what do you ban now? Shinzao? Shinzao easy ban, I think. So the Wukong Shinzao can deal quite well with the Vi, stop her from ulting in. It stops the Vi Orianna combo being good too onto him because he can pop the ult and deny the shockwave damage. Not really sure what he's looking at now, actually. What'd you ban away from Hope? I mean, MF maybe? Corki. I wouldn't have banned the Corki. I don't think that's actually that strong in laning phase. I think there's a chance that, yeah, I think there's a chance you get Miss Fortune. That again. There's Lucian Nami as well, I suppose. Lucian Nami could be okay. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if that gets locked in for Hope and Kyle. You go for the Zeri, Lulu as well, I suppose. The Ashe. Potential of a Seraphine last lock-in. Kyle was a player of that, thinking about it. So Weber needs top jungle. They know the top side of the map. Skarner locked in. There's nothing that really threatens the Skarner there. There's no anti-tank craziness. Ori's not great at killing tanks. Skarner's... I mean, Vi's okay into the Skarner. The Nidalee less so. And you need to pick something that can survive into the Nidalee. And it's Breeze Ambassador. He might just be the best Ambassador within the LPL. Not a surprise there, actually. Last pick for Kyle. Looking for lane dominance. Now, Ashe Seraphine has been a big thing for them. I will say I don't love it into the stuff like the Ambassador. Like, if the Ambassador manages to land an ult onto you, you die, and you don't have tools to defend that particularly easily. What you can do is look to throw an ult towards the Skarner. I think Ashe Seraphine very good versus the Skarner on the whole. I'm really worried about how they play against the Kalista Renata, though. They don't get countered nearly as hard by the Ashe slow as they used to. I think Weibo come away with a much easier to execute draft. AL have 5 squishies. I mean, the Vi's a little bit tanky, but they have 5 squishies. Weibo have a couple of snap engage tools between the Ambassador ults, Kalista running forwards with the ultimate too. And Eagles Legend do have a range advantage. They have Orianna, they have Ashe. Nidalee technically as well, though, with the AD variant in top lane, less about that. I'm really worried about AL losing through the bot lane. There's also a chance that once you get past 3 minutes, Eagles Legend will just be switching around the map. Weibo will be switching around the map to make sure that the Kalista can get 2v1s, which they're very, very good at. And on the other side, the Nidalee gets stuck in a 1v2, which they don't really like playing against. That being said, Eagles Legend just have better macro on the whole. And that macro is not something easy to deny. Remember that the last series that Weibo played versus JDG was 100% win rate on blue side. And here we go again. Second game, Eagles Legend. Fell behind a little bit in early game, the last game, but their macro was much superior, and they came out to a victory through that. Weibo playing the underdog story here. Beat JDG's 3rd seed. Can they beat the 2nd seed in Eagles Legend? If they beat them, they face the team that beat the 1st seed and inherited it from them, I suppose, in BLG. Of course, it is a double elimination bracket. Loser here their story does not end. Let's get into it. Xiaojiao thrown in there as well. Oh, it's not quite the same. They don't have the Jing Dong. Not quite the same, is it? Early level 1 push in from Eagles Legend. Of course, the Ashe Seraphine, very dangerous at level 1, actually. The Ashe gets the slow, and Kyle manages to, well, if he does level up the E, you can get a full stun onto someone. Powerful thing about the Ashe Seraphine, for those who are not in the know, Seraphine's E, the the skill shot along the ground, if it hits you with one of those, it will slow you. If you were already slowed, it goes into a root. Now, of course, Ashe gives a slow on auto attack, so you can get that root immediately from just one of those. And of course, if they're already rooted, then they go into a full stun. Ashe, hang on, popping the ghost very early, using that level 1. This is the power of it. Not even starting with the E, just using the superior range of the Seraphine over the Renata, and the Ashe over the Kalista. Heal for Ghost heal. Xiaohu getting Clockwork wound up. Not bad threaded volley onto Shanks there for continual damage, but not in the happiest of spots. Orianna, a very good early trader in lane. Ymir Masters co-stream tomorrow? I don't know what Sam's plans are. He only just got back from Copenhagen. He went out to NLC Finals to go watch the festivities there. But yeah, I'm sure he'll think about it. Tian, gonna get his level 3. He was spotted around the area. Nidalee put some bushwhacks to spot out some jungle paths. Tarzan also hits level 3, and he has red buff. That actually might win this trade. Tarzan off of vision, trying to predict the counter again, coming through the wall. Cut through. Oh, no counters to dash. Shanks flashing away from the last threaded volley. Flash blown for nothing there. Tarzan potentially a little stronger. I was actually surprised that the interaction wasn't that Skarner pushes you through the minefield and it activates the damage from it. I wasn't aware that was not considered a displacement. Well, I suppose that's... Skarner's broken enough. Let's not give him more stuff to worry about. Tarzan now going for an invade, using the winning bot lane to go towards red buff. Tian will get his Raptors, but loses red buff. That's annoying. Tarzan getting ahead of the game. Vi should not be getting ahead in terms of early camps. Vi is not a champion you should allow to get ahead of the game like that. you want to shut them down in the early levels. Before level 3, Vi is a very weak champion. Once you hit level 3, you're an incredible skirmisher because you get access to your denting blows a lot easier. Buzzing towards bottom scuttle now. Using that winning bot lane very, very well. The Seraphine very much helping Annual's Legend plan their early game. And AL, the one thing that we have known about this team in this iteration, as soon as they added Tarzan alongside Tabe as the coach, was that they were going to be a thinking person's League of Legends team. They were always going to be... Oh, can you stop the recall? I think you can. Yeah. Annoying for Breathe, one of the better things about daily top lane. Always has a way to stop you from recalling. Will the blue side advantage ever be mended? Fearless Draft makes it much more blue-sided on the whole. I don't know why. There's a lot of factors running into it, but I think it's much easier to pick a powerful champion and plan around it than counter-pick a lot more, especially when champions start to fall out of the meta, and you're less practiced at matchups. Counter-picks get less value. Also in Fearless, people don't want to practice the crazy counter-picks because you're going to see the champions they counter much less. You know, stuff like Swain into Cassante, people won't practice that as much. I mean, that's one example, right? Because they won't see as Cassante as much. They're only going to see it in one game in a series. I know that people like Fearless a lot, but it does have its negatives. Shanks doesn't have Flash. Xian can get towards him. It won't be able to wall stun him. Doesn't have to draw him back a little bit. Can he get slow onto him? Yes, he can. Where's the flick back coming through? The dissonance does not give enough move speed to dodge through that, and Shanks has overpushed a little too hard and will pay the cost for it. Annual's Legend, we're playing a bit of a full court press. Trying to push in all lanes. That does come with some risks. Right there, not able to survive. First kill going over towards Tian in the jungle. Tian had a very good Pantheon game too. Just before this, roots onto Airhead. Heal comes through. I don't like that Ren sound nearly as much. It's not as spicy as it could be. It turns out Seraphine is Lux in early levels with Ashe especially. Hang on a second, that was a recall coming through. I was wondering if they could actually go for a flash handshake or something. Not going to happen. Wave crash coming in from Light and Air now, who are 10 CS down, but dealt well with the last bit. Oh, that's a problem. There's no AD carry with them. Will survive with the heal being blown. Tarza starting Dragon. Not sure he's safe to. Hope could walk over. I guess they are, because the other bot lane's going to recall anyway. No mana for light. Oh, thank you very much. Is that a cinnamon roll? Hell yeah. Nice. Sounds brought a cinnamon roll. Yay. Early game. So draft from Annual's Legend, very much about full court press, early pushing lanes to help Tarzan get ahead of Tian. That bit worked actually. Got a red buff steal. Tian punished the full court press though, because the negative of I'm going to push all lanes is okay, then you're vulnerable to ganks. Shanks had flash blown from level 3 Skarner, returned a little later, and then punished the flashless Orianna to get the first kill of the game. So you can see the strategies, pros and cons from Annual's Legend. Thank you for the 50 gift bomb, Mecha.
Saint Mecha.
Saint Mecha. The patron saint of the LPL. Shahu's shockwave. Spear missing though.
Nearly a nice angle, gets to run away there. Good double seismic shove. Doesn't need to all that.
Not that much, but hey, it's a nice feel-good moment. Flash down, but I suppose that's now something that could be punished by level 6 Tarzan. Level 6 Hope coming up soon as well. Grub spawning under a minute. AL blowing that summoner. This is what we call cooldown economy. You want to fight with that cooldowns down. Air wants to fight during the service. The Impale comes through.
Massive value turning around now. As in they come. All the damage available to them. Shanks now in danger as well. Big shove. Shanks beginning to find himself in a challenging position.
Yeah, it's 1-for-1. Tarzan has his flash, and we did say, hey, they wanted to punish that flashless Talia. They do, but it's at the cost of one themselves. Shanks has teleport, will be able to make it into the play. Shahu doesn't. Tian finds out Tarzan.
Doesn't walk into that bush there where the red buff isn't. It's out with the Vault Breaker. Arrow roaming up as well means this red buff is likely lost.
Grub spawning now. Don't think this is going to buy them the grubs completely, though, because everyone's respawned and managed to get back to the play in time. Hope to hit level 6 as well, so you'll have an Ashe out to throw in to the play. Tian's going to walk over, start up towards this. Light will help with the rending as well. Weibo not falling for the early game machinations of AL in the way that AL would have liked, actually. 2 grubs now down, Smite still available. They do still have that Ash Arrow. That's an important thing to work around.
Tien doesn't have the ult, will slide on forwards, missing out on the root there is Kyle, of course, on the Seraphim, but the arrow you mentioned lands onto Ura. Doesn't really turn into all that much, so it's a decent stun, but no one can really follow up, so they throw some ults and about it, can't quite find the angle they're looking for.
Tarzan also ends up blowing his flash too, out of the combo that was set up from Xiaohu. So AL now see Weibo with the 3 grubs. They got them that last time. Maybe looking for a continuation on the flip here. Doesn't have flash. Light has 6 though, can save him with the ults.
Oh, wonderful look there, but as you said, flash on him from Light brings them out with the Fate's Call. Gets huge value there.
Anyone's Legend trying their best to win around those grubs. They do have a slight gold advantage, of course. That's expected from the aggressive early lanes which they have. My problem is, how long is that advantage going to last, especially when you have very good gold buttons from Weibo in the likes of the Ambessa in the second jump forward again.
No flash on Light. I chose the wrong moment to eat some cinnamon roll. I can only apologise.
Breathe, looking for that. I'll just keep continuing with him, mate. I was like, how much does he actually want to cast this? Because he's still sat here in the seat. How much does he actually want to cast this like next team fight? Nope, he's taking a bite of blueberry cinnamon roll.
It's really good.
I will also have some in a second, Sam. Just not when there's grubs, which might determine a huge portion of the game coming through in an upper bracket matchup between an underdog Weibo and anyone's Legend looking to see if they can book a date with BLG.
Well, stands Weibo Gaming find themselves only a few hundred gold behind. Those grubs and stuff will make a nice little change in terms of their ability to play out the game. We've got a minute or so until next dragon. That might be the next look in for anyone's Legend. 2 dragons early does help you out in terms of your macro options. We head into mid game proper.
Do we have any big breakpoints coming through just yet? No, it's just before first items come through, and especially with tier 2 boots being brought up by a lot of Weibo. It's not necessarily going to be all about them just yet. Breed's quite close to the Eclipse though. Doing well to keep even with Flandre. It's important to make sure that the Nidalee doesn't get huge individual value. Map hacks activated by Hope with the Hawk Shop, giving some vision of air and light coming down towards the lane, and Tien on the Krobs.
And back to standard lanes briefly. Both bot lanes are suddenly in their bot lanes again. Hopping all over the place. And 30 seconds on that dragon, as we were kind of mentioning. Reset coming on through, and that's the heart steal can be for Tien to absolutely understand why that back has come on through.
Yeah, he's done well in terms of the early fights. He is down in CS compared to Tarzan. Tarzan getting a good farm advantage, and that's definitely something which you don't want to get completely out of hand. No clips just yet for Breathe. Saying this again when it was locked in. Breathe might be our best ambassador in the LPL. This guy he's prioritized it a lot. I think that he's played 13 games of it this split. And he's had some really good games on him. This guy has been a real force of nature for Weibo. Often been someone they've focused on very hard to get ahead on the pick. Ult's coming through. Here comes the fight. There's flash from Hope. Uses it.
Had to find someone with the arrow there. Couldn't quite get it. Ends up having to burn that flash. TP now bot side. Encore flashed away from Tienta. Someone is blown, but no one dead.
Yeah, means that the Encore doesn't extend. But yeah, Tien not getting caught up there means that he'll be able to retain a little bit more HP. Dragon now started. Shanks on the flanking Orianna for now. Not in the best position for himself. Breed doesn't have teleport. This would be a 4v5. Wait, but you sure you want this?
I'm thinking about it. Wait, Tien goes driving on through. The beat drop doesn't really land.
Oh,
Wave is airballed. Still gets some of the dragon nonetheless. Is forced to flash all the while though. The Ambess is still shoving topside.
Heal.
And Zekin still looking for potential angle. Sees a desist into the root. Will mean a very dead Xiao who gets bailed out. But to what end? He's gone. And they pick up at least a kill on the back end of it all. Breed gets a second plate.
But Weibo, you know that your top laner is not coming down to this. You are at best looking for a delaying action or a steal. They vaguely try and do both. Anyone's Legend have a teleport to respond to Breathe now. And yes, Breathe will get an individual advantage. We were just saying before this, Breed has been given individual advantage in the top lane on the Ambessa before because he's paid it back to his team quite well. But is this a cost you're willing to pay? 2 dragons, more gold going over to the side of AL too. Could be a problem.
There's Nidalee, not exactly at a Nidalee level of top lane annoyance. It's actually behind in gold, which is very unusual for a Nidalee top. So that's going to be a bit of a problem for Flandre, who was out that play and ended up costing a lot in terms of the individual advantage you might otherwise have gained. And we have seen Nidalee top a few times from people like the Shine, Zeus, in various parts of the world. But one of the core characteristics is you need to win the lane.
Especially because the later the game goes, the much harder it is to play it. The much harder it is to play out a game as a Nidalee who has to team fight. You can't even sit there as a poke bot because you're not building AP for the javelin toss damage. Whereas on the other side, the Ambessa, this is the kind of comp where an Ambessa can 1v5. You dive into the backline, you hit the Seraphine or the Ashe or the Orianna, 3 immobile champions which are squishy in the backline, you will one-shot. You'll do horrific damage to clumps of members. So perhaps Breathe with that gold does make a difference. Shanks no flash now. Remember he had to use it after airballing his ult. Does escape this time.
Can't find that much there as it stands. Again though, try and be as frustrating as possible here. Down a lot of CS. I know you mentioned it earlier, but it has now hit the 40 mark, which is a significant deal within the jungle. And yes, you're a Skarner. Yes, he got Heartsteel. To an extent, you're kind of online.
Yeah, but he's down a full level. He's level 8 to level 10. That's a huge issue. Because you're also meant to be the person face-checking, the person going forwards. Annual's Legend, they have used their pushing lanes to get via extra access to farm. However, even with that, this is a lot of gold to give
up,
over.
Yeah.
Breathe does have the 3 grubs as well, worth noting too, using the Eclipse Shield and the Repudiation to shrug off some tower damage. Tien, you've got to catch up in some farm. This is a huge issue.
Well, that many camps up to take, unfortunately, is part of the issue. Look at the jungle. It's pretty bare right now. 2.5 minutes until the next dragon. That'd be so point for anyone's legend and a Hex Soul this game when you're running with a Seraphine and Ashe. Hell, the Nidalee. Very good at proccing the lightning of Hex Soul on a regular basis. Can get very, very annoying here.
The Hextech Soul is one of those real game-changing, game-ending souls. Don't want to let that one go over. You can see the White Weibo did look towards a steal on the dragon earlier. Again. Has that Heartsteel. It's okay in terms of items. Down a level though. Tarzan's going to walk over. We get towards that back line. No flash on Hope, remember.
Goes in. Tarzan begins to run away. He's about to get jumped on here. Forced to flash in case an Impale came onto the arrow. Also burned there. Hope a little bit trigger happy with those. Doesn't really hit anyone super valuable. The Shockwave okay-ish.
Oh, he's popped over.
Is split in a very awkward position. The Weaver's Wall knocks him right back into everyone else and he just dies for free.
Very good Weaver's Wall from Xiaohu. Honestly, Xiaohu on the Aurora last game was pretty impactful too. With Lear, the champion which has been a comfort pick for many mid laners for many years. Good value there.
All the while, Hope is mid lane. TP's coming on through. Hang on, how's Tarzan taking turret aggro? What?
Your guess is as good as mine. Breathe can't save the turret. Tarzan is executed, but that means that their fed jungler is not here to defend the team. He's also not around for the dragon setup now. Xiaohu pushing top lane. What the hell did Tarzan just do?
I have so many questions and no answers. I'm hoping we get a replay there because I'm assuming he just turned up the turret before the minions got there.
I mean, that tracks. That's normally how you take aggro, I guess, if you're not hitting a champion.
The insult of the tower's mother.
Your father was an hamster and your mother was mortar. I don't know.
Well, what's a good your mum joke for towers? Your mum was a palisade wall.
What? Why?
It's made of wood rather than stone, right? It's like a class joke, but the towers can really.
Damn, didn't take you as a classist person like that, Sam. No war except class war, remember? Xiaohu gets a really good wall onto Shanks to put him down into the grave. It was, yeah, he's honestly Xiaohu playing well in the first 2 games so far. I mean, I know he has been caught out by stuff like Tarzan, but you look at his Aurora, his walls here. Keep track of how he continues to play. Shanks has the flash back up now.
Does indeed. Got Dragon in 10 seconds, and that flash may become quite valuable here in the grand scheme of things. 1-3-1 is Shanks, not having a best time here, but he's got his items, got his flash, as you noticed, and can look to turn things around here and get themselves soul point, which would be a big, big win con for anyone's legend.
Again, level 10 to level 10, but Tarzan about to tick over towards level 11. 3 grubs used by Weibo. Choosing not to immediately set up for Dragon, so get this gold on the tower while it's available. Xiaohu recalling, getting his second item potentially, or not second item, but getting components for his next item. Completed.
What is he doing?
That's a good question. He was in the enemy jungle, I guess, looking for people walking around. Ren now getting started up, and now he'll appear in the pit.
Teleport begins to play. He's in the pit. Got a Vault Breaker charge. Trying to hold on to it as long as he can. The arrow lands onto Tien. Goes starting on forward. The dragon is secured with the Ren combo. And so Weibo Gaming denied the dragon setup.
And of course, Skarner could just go through walls. Doesn't really have to care about that. So Weibo get a tower, they get dragon. Anyone's Legend, not really sure what they wanted to do around that. They kind of look for an opportunistic arrow, and you think, oh, the Skarner, they're behind the game, right? We can surely do some damage to them. Didn't really do much when they landed that arrow. Not willing to open up a second front on the fight where Light could potentially hop forwards and use the ultimate to force another plate. Hope for being so affluent in this game, most gold in the game so far, not really having that much of an impact.
Not so far, no. I feel like the arrows has been unimpactful. Have we seen an arrow lead to a kill yet? Really? I'm not sure we have.
No, we haven't. No, it's not led through to that. It's given flashes, because it's burned flashes, but that's as best as it's gotten so far.
Should call the police about that.
Huh?
There's flashes on the rift.
Oh, yeah, no, that's very serious.
Yeah,
very serious. Annual's Legend, they are a comp which do have a harder time playing as the game goes on. We're now at 19 minutes. Gold is even. They don't have Soul Point. Weibo are getting towards key items like the Eclipse on and Breathe, which was built up earlier. Once he hits towards second, third item, that Ambassador is going to go absolutely wild in the backline. Annual's Legend, I think they put a timer on their composition, and I think that time is starting to tick closer towards 0.
Obviously, you've got the Enchanter and the Seraphine, you've still got the Ashe, the Orianna, not exactly bad scalers, but pretty easy here.
Can't protect the tower.
Yeah.
And that's a sign of it, right? Annual's Legend. They don't have someone that can just bully people out from an area of the map. They don't have someone like a Scion that can stand up and charge Q, and the Enchanter is good, but it's not going to... It's also another person that can just die in the one-way combo. It's not someone that, again, can walk forwards like a Leona, press that W, press the get the Aftershock, and be very, very tanky. Weibo take a gold lead, and I mean, Weibo, I think they should be favored compositionally from this point out. Annual's Legend will have to find a way to, on a macro scale, or in teamfight execution, overcome this deficit.
Even little things like the feat of strength now done. You've got Mikhail's done on arrow as well, so even if you do land a good arrow, not that necessarily going to turn into all that much more. See exactly what it turns into. And again, yes, things like the Callisto not exactly known for their great scaling, but I think in this game, not enough damage elsewhere to not have to worry as much about that. And if things aren't landing the combos, aren't finding the picks, then things get dicey for them as the games do go on. 2.5 minutes until next Dragon. Maybe that's another opportunity to turn things around, but I do need to see them set up for an objective a little bit cleaner this time around.
Well, maybe it'll help when Tarzan's not died to a turret just before.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie, the last Dragon, when Tarzan randomly executed to the tower, became a lot harder to do, especially when it's like Tarzan with a level advantage of 40 CS lead in the jungle. You really... Hang on a second, he needs to be careful. He's too far away from the Callista to buy that ultimate. Ships in the night, well, not ships in the night. He was the ship in the night. He didn't see the others lurking in the water. More like a submarine, really. They go past that vision line now, and now Xiaohu, does he know? Can he ult out?
Here comes the arrow. Doesn't quite land. Flash for the season. Getting dragged with the turret. Tarzan going very deep with the shockwave on top. Equality. Encore comes on through. There is no equalizer, of course, but the line skill shot still comes on through, and Tarzan.
That's a lot of ults used.
That in they go to the backline though with that perfect execution. Public, I apologize. Not with Carly this time around. It eats a lot of damage back though. My days. Just about survives, and they can't turn it around. Man down, and Anyone's Legend can turn back towards the Atakan.
That was really well played from Anyone's Legends to not jump on Erha and instead go towards Xiao, who once Weibo assumed that they were safe on that side of the map. Erha does have the hostile takeover. That ultimate needs to be key. Shank's taking a lot of damage. Remember, they're getting shredded by the Atakan.
Breathe looking for an angle, doesn't have the ult necessary. Also really low. Hostile takeover comes across many. Breathe into the backside. Will take down one. Atakan still spawning. They're just running at them all. They try to get some damage. Flanberg does nothing. He's got no mana. What do you even do as an Italy at this point? And Atakan just taken by Weibo Gaming.
Anyone's Legend used too many ultimates to get that first kill, assuming that they could win in the 5v4 afterwards, but they just can't. Hostile takeover, magnificent. Breathe got into the backline, and AL couldn't keep their battle lines. They didn't have a tank to keep Weibo at bay, and they had no ultimates left to play the fight. Weibo increase their lead now, secure that Atakan, and even Tien can maybe give himself some access to a little bit more fun. Hooray! He can steal a camp now.
What he's going to do, we've got 30 odd seconds until another soul point attempt from Anyone's Legend. They may be forced to fight again here. This time they should have some ultimates up, and I wonder whether Weibo might be shy one or two of those. Have a look again here, because Ura lands a wicked hostile takeover and gives Breathe a lot of space in the back.
And remember, this is without the Talir as well. They've just been shredded by the Atakan. They position quite poorly in regards to Breathe. He finds a very good angle into the backline, and Hope, despite the fact that he has a lot of gold, just can't be that huge turnaround damage. Weibo, they finally start winning some 5v5s. Last game, it was something that they couldn't really manage to do. Anyone's Legend now will have to see another Dragon go over. Weibo are in the driving seat this game.
And it doesn't look like Anyone's Legend wants to contest. They are happy enough to let that one go. They're going to try and play for some turrets instead, seems to be the idea. Flandre left alone in a 1v3 in Italy here. Going to have very little to say about clearing this wave, I think, so this tier 2. Likely to fall without much to be said.
Free grabs make it really, really easy, doesn't it? Not sure why Xiaohu's gone for the Blood Let's Go second, by the way. That is a decision of all time.
I noticed that, yeah.
Maybe, yeah, that's... Look, I saw Humanoid do it. I didn't like it on him either. Shanks will take down that top lane outer turret, and he'll get some gold back for himself. Currently, or was down 700 gold, which cuts that to 400. Anyone's Legend, I don't see what their win condition is now. Maybe a big enough wombo combo. If you catch... Hang on a second, Hope doesn't have summoners. Has to throw that ultimate out, because if Breathe had managed to ping an ult onto him, it could have been very deadly. That's how scared they have to be. That's how scared they have to be. I think the only way Anyone's Legend win a fight, win the game rather, is Baron Steel.
Yep.
Or catching 2-3 squishies, so probably Renata, Kalista, and Natalia, all within a shockwave. I think it has to be all of them. I think if one of them escapes with the Ambessa as well, I don't think you win the fight afterwards. I think it's so scary at this point now, you're not that far ahead. They needed to snowball more. You have a Nidalee top lane who is doing nothing. They're 700 gold behind.
Yep.
You are not the lane leading Nidalee that we've seen before. You're effectively playing a 4v5 now.
Does feel that way. Flandre has got a Trinity Force and that's it, compared to Black Cleaver, Eclipse, and Chain Laced Crushes. That's just not fun. Again, only 700 or so gold behind, so it won't be miles off an item completion, to be fair. But it's not exactly a terrifying Nidalee, and it's certainly not obnoxious either.
Yeah, and we've covered this before, of course, too. But having 2 items to 2 items does not mean you are even in the game.
No.
Different champions need different amounts of items. Different champions need to be certain amounts of items ahead of their opponents. Nidalee, you know, spikes in the first few levels of the game, and then once they hit 2 items when you're on like 1.5. Just hit the second item now and it's gone for the Sterix. Hasn't gone towards something like the Sundered Sky or something like that. It gives them some survivability. Doesn't exactly give them the damage that they would like to have, though. Shanks has 2 items now. Has the Shadow Flame on top of the Ludens. Have to go for that burst build, really. Jumping forwards in mid lane. Hope still has no flash. Needs to be very careful. We'll get out with a little bit of move speed there. But needs to be very, very careful about their positioning.
Baron. Now up and in potential range. Look to do some work here. Good Weibo gaming around that. Again, they've already looked to be quite aggressive around those objectives, using the Ren combo to force Anyone's Legend into uneven smite fights. And looking a little bit more lost this game in general, really. Part of that's Weibo just having a much better platform to play around, all things said and done. Know how easy it's going to be for all that. Talia is 0-3-3. She is up 1,000 gold. Biggest gold lead in the game. What do Anyone's Legend do about this horrible map state, to be honest? Where they look, there is someone lurking in the shadows, it feels like.
You wait for a mistake. You have to wait for a mistake, whilst also not committing one yourself. Hope caught out by the public execution, and Hope is gone.
Nice angle indeed, and he will die. It's a good encore. But where's the damage? The shockwave is solid, but no one really dies. The Fate Call kept Ura alive. They are running out of damage here.
And now they don't have their AD carry, they don't have their encore, they don't have their shockwave. Dragon's up in 2 minutes, but I don't think that's going to be the angle of attack. Weibo, if they want, they could go towards the Baron right now. I don't see a reason why they shouldn't. Breathe going to get jumped on, but I don't think they win this fight.
They do land a decent feed drop, but it means nothing.
Doesn't matter, they don't win.
No one cares about your hot number 1. Breathe jumps over the wall and says, I will just step all over you instead. That's the plan. Ambessa gets the kill onto Tarzan. They lose mid jungle. Dragon's up in a minute, and Baron's up right now.
The goal of the game was wait for Weibo to make a mistake without making one yourself. They couldn't manage that second part, make a huge mistake in the mid lane. Great Weaver's Wall. Weibo pull the trigger incredibly effectively and breathe on the Ambassador, showcasing just why, just how we respect this player and this champion so much. Ale will walk over for a contest, but it's against a Rend, it's against the Smite. You don't have one yourself. Not much to do here.
Trying to find something. Flandre gets hand shook. TP's beginning to fly. Ura's a little low, but that's really not the end of the world. As the Baron's gone down, flash away from Hope, but to what end? A flash on forward for the seismic shove, and Hope is dead again. Kyle, where do you run? There's nowhere to go. You're running towards the enemy Nexus. And that's all well and good, but you can't get there, can you? As Light picks up another 30 seconds on Dragon, and they got Baron on top of it all.
Weibo's strategy this game to say, look, screw the early Dragons, let's get an advantage to breathe, has worked out so well. Flandre, this Nidalee has done nothing this game. 1 kill participation in 27 minutes, being down 2,000 gold. That's not the Nidalee top lane you want. Tarzan caught out again. The game's falling apart. It has totally fallen apart.
And the watershed moment has happened, and now the dam broken. As the flood of Weibo gaming rushes across the map. Breathe topside will claim a tier 2. Dragon spawning now. Wave shoved everywhere you care to look, and Anyone's Legend may have to look for book 3 to find some redemption here from what has been an Empire Strikes Back of the game.
Tarzan and crew had a ambitious plan for this game. Get so far ahead early, invade, get a huge... arrows landing, but that's a good stealth. Mikhail's actually from Era, good reactions there.
Jack, mate.
Of course, with the whatchamacallit, the Mikhail's has a slight delay on it too, so you have to self-cast it before it hits you. Capture onto Tien, is here.
Flash with the handshake onto the Seraphine. Doesn't need all that much. The hostile takeover, not fantastic, but the Fate's Call will keep alive. What more can anyone actually find? They've gotten something here. They're trying to find a moment as the seismic shove comes on down onto Kyle, who does just get absolutely eviscerated. Bloodletter's curse stacking. Apparently not bad there in the 1v1, but it may be turned around by Tarzan, who gets one. Shockwave pulls multiple back. Goes down. Public execution of the backside will at least claim Tarzan. They're going to keep running as there's only 2 members remaining. Light and Breathe caught onto the turret. Where's Light?
Breathe can still win this, by the way.
You can certainly look to his Light. I'm not so sure about getting slowed down now by the massive damage, certainly from a Shadow Flame completion on Shanks. Another kill picked up, and at least anyone's legend gets something at the back end of everything.
Whoa. What do you mean? At least they get something. Ale just denied 4 of the 5 Baron buffs. This isn't even, no, this is beyond just the at least. That's an insane win in the fight from AL. They managed to catch Weibo as they go 1 by 1 by 1 by 1, and 4 people suddenly die. It's still a bad game state for anyone's legend because they're still behind, but this should have been the killer blow Baron, and now it's a bit more of an open-ended question. Era goes forwards. It's not a great hostile takeover. It doesn't catch Hope. If he catches Hope with that, then the Ashe starts to, you know, do a lot of damage after that. But then Xiao, who goes in afterwards, Airhook tries to come to the defense because Hope still wants to use the bailout, and basically everyone just kind of goes in, loses a bit of HP. They don't form up their battle lines. Good shockwave afterwards, and I mean, AL will be thinking it's an absolute gift because it is.
How many flashes are blown there as well? There's no flash on the Callista. You burned it on Ura. There's no flash on Ambessa. Light gets run down afterwards as well. Big moment for anyone's legend. Yes, it's still down sell point. Yes, it's still an awkward position. Oh, we're down, what, 4,000 gold? Let's make no bones about that. It's a tricky position to be in. But you have now got a 3rd item onto this Ashe. You are in decent parity in mid lane, even if, of course, there's still the full Zhonya's completion from Talia. We've already questioned somewhat the build. It's very defensive from Xiaohu. Whereas Shanks, if he hits a good combo, will murder people.
Good roots, good arrow.
Arrow into the encore across
okay, that's too
people.
much now. That's too much now. You just spent how many ults on that? That's 2 ultimates. Not sure about that one. Cherry doesn't even take that much damage, really, because, well, no. You know, your Ashe arrow is not exactly the most damaging thing from the Ashe's kits. Your auto attack's got that Infinity Edge. Credit to Hope, by the way. Really found a good angle to run forward in that last play. Maybe an Ashe can do enough to take down 1 or 2 straggling members from Weibo. Find it quite hard to think he can do that into the Ambessa is the problem for me, who has upgraded Merc Treads for, you know, tenacity, a little bit the magic damage shake off from the other members trying to peel away from the Ashe. And he has 3 items, including a Serpent's Fang, which will deny a lot of the value from that Seraphine. 2 minutes until the Dragon, which would be Hextech Soul for Weibo. Not even sure Weibo really need that to end the game. All they need is someone out of position, throwing over the Weaver's Wall in. I think the game will solve itself.
Yeah, that's going to get a bit tricky, isn't it? Randuin's done now for Tien as well to really make people feel a bit sad. The Void Staff, at least now done for Shanks, so there is that. This Orianna will hurt. If she lands a Shockwave, she lands a good Dissonance, you hit that onto Light and he will pop. 1.5 until Dragon. Hexol turns things again. Make again, no bones about it. Weibo Gaming are in the lead. It's just not the knockout blow that it should have been.
Shanks, hang on a second. Shanks is quite far up in this bot lane now. Every time someone's pushing up quite far, I do just question whether there's a teleport play, whether there's a snap engage. AL, on the whole, are a bit of a death ball composition. Click back onto the... It doesn't work onto the Skull Crab, actually. AL trying to keep together as a big unit, because that's the only time they're safe. They will take an outer turret. Currently, though, getting pushed in the mid lane. Remember, this is what happened to Weibo last game. You go one side, we have the 3 grubs, we'll push in the other.
Full resetting and sending everyone back. I don't know what they should do, but they are bringing everyone back to base, and the inhibitor turret is at least going to go. And now they've reset too late. Dragon's up in 50 seconds. At least it's not the inhibitor itself, but it is exposed. That means one bad fight here, and the game is over.
I do love how these are 2 of our teams, alongside maybe BLG, that are most willing to say, okay, bet we'll go for a cross map. Like, they will say, you're pushing one lane, we'll push another, and we'll see who comes out on top. Both of them very good at calculating time to kill towers on the fly, and when they're ahead of the game, they use that as a great weapon. Now 30 seconds till Dragon, where AL did have to reset. They worked quite hard to get themselves at the bot side of the map. That was undone by the macro of Weibo.
We'll note Tarzan went to his quads, rushed them, because it just got him a GA completion. Could be massive here for this fight. Xiaohu Off vision, looking for a good Weaver's Wall angle. Split people off here as the dragon spawns in 10 seconds. Shanks, a potential angle. Got a elixir of sorcery running.
So, AL, they need a wombo combo. They need a huge shockwave with the 3-out to Mariano to multiple people. Tien's pushing bot side. There was potentially an engagement with the arrow. Misses. Hope. Again. Not been accurate with them this game.
Base under siege. Now looking to turn around. Tien gets run at. Eats a fair amount of damage there, actually. And they're not on the dragon first. All the while, though, Breed is just winning the game. Inhibitors going down.
Teleporting now. Here comes the wall.
The Encore comes on through. Traded out with a potential hostile takeover available to turn that around. Shockwave still up. There's the hostile takeover we talked about. There goes the Seraphine down and Breed in the backline. Just Drakehound steps all over them. Begins to lacerate and slam some more down. Hope alone does not spring eternal. His ankles are broken. Tarzan now needs to run away, but Hexol was claimed all the while. And the game is over. We are going to 2-1 apiece. Weibo Gaming just buying some time. The rest of their members head into the base, and Tarzan has nowhere to go.
Anyone's Legend, they're going to keep... try and keep Tarzan alive. The alley-oop, because he'll get over towards his own side of the map. That actually might mean the game doesn't end here, by the way. Weibo, they pushed in towards that, well, they pushed in the bot lane inhibitor, but they pulled off of that to try and kill Tarzan. He is still alive. I guess they wanted to kill him just in case he went back for a base defense. He tries to secure his blue buff now.
Does get it, so credit to Tarzan. His base is broken, Hexel secured, but despite the kills and everything else, they can't quite find a way into the enemy base, and the game continues.
Continues both as Axel for Weibo, so let's be honest, this game is a victory lap now for Weibo. I thought there was an angle with Breed teleporting in so late for maybe a quick combo, something like that from Anyone's Legend, but it would be okay getting some chunk onto Skarner, but it doesn't win you the fight. You need to get something onto the Talir, onto the Callista. I really like how Weibo open up multiple angles of attack and say, right, you're just not going to get a good encore. The hostile takeover midway through the fight there is really, really good here. It just opens up so much space for Breathe and Light to dance around. You're not making out of this play once Breathe and Light start DPSing.
Yeah, and like, the Encore hits 4 people and there's a Mikhail's and a Cleanse, so what do you actually get out of the Encore? For all that it feels good in the moment, it's very hard to get anything that resembles a good Encore. Baron has just started.
Baron started. And a reminder, this is a 4 Hextech Dragon, Hextech Soul as well. The attack speed and the cooldown available for the team is absolutely insane. Tarzan is on a flank, does have flash, does have ultimate, misses the Q on Terraha. Run a potentially turn around, flashes away. Baron still being DPS'd. Anyone's Legends need to find their way in down to 3,000 HP, and they've got no stacks in it, but doesn't matter. Baron secure, public execution to the backline, and Breeze begins to pop. They throw an Encore, it's not bad, but Hope is dead, and that means a lot more for Weibo Gaming. Breeze continues to keep pouncing. The Drakehouse Scepter good, that Shockwave would have been lovely if you had anyone else to get some damage down. Kyle, the last man alive, and he's not going to be alive for all that much longer. The beat is dropped. And so is the game as Anyone's Legend are dropped into a mass grave, courtesy of Weibo. We'll have at least 4 games today. Weibo, much like yesterday, winning on the blue side, losing on the red. 2 games of blue side wins so far. Anyone's Legend, our number 2 seed, maybe a bit of sweat. Weibo took down the 3rd seed just before them. We're going to an even series. The script perhaps revisiting itself. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Weibo Gaming engage in playoffs. Managed to right the wrongs of game 1. Even series, it is. Weibo, much better team fighting from this game. Much better composition. Anyone's Legend, there will be questions about how the hell do they lock into something like that. You know, the Nidalee top lane, which didn't get ahead. The pushing lanes, which didn't give a back-breaking lead to the team of Anyone's Legend. And we have ourselves an even series. I need a quick break, Sam. Go for it. I need to go do that thing where I get another coffee. And do that. Eat my cinnamon roll. Go for it. And thank you for watching us here on this channel as well, which we try and bring you as much LPL content as possible to as high quality as possible as well. We hope you enjoy yourselves. Zoom. Oh. How are you all doing, folks? Get hydrated, I will do just that. Hey, Tak, good to see you. Breathe MVP, I think probably is, Hans, you're right. Not a very good game. If there's anyone else who could get it, it's not going to be Xiaohu. Ero was alright. Light was pretty good. I think it probably is Breathe, let's be real. I think he was the most important member of that game. Lots of really good fights. I cannot think any other member I would rather it be.
Fun fact for Marco Macchia. Okay, I have a question. Also, yes, Harold, what's up? But let me do the, make sure you're fed, hydrated, medicated, exactly. Yeah, I need to get some painkillers, actually. My knee is doing me in. But that's fine. So I drank, ate brunch, took my meds, holy modes, boom. Oh, it's very hot in here as well. I need to get some water. Way to give a fun fact over. What is a good fun fact? I think a fun fact. I'm normally pretty good with facts. I'm struggling for value here. I'm struggling. My brain has just gone blank on me. What is a good fun fact? We think about music. I need to think of a music fun fact. I can't think of one. Oh no, I'm gonna be a horrible man. All right, Frederick the Great of. Guessing it would have been German. Was it Prussian or Germany? Was he Prussian king? Was Frederick the Great a Prussian king? I think he was Prussian. But he had a palace outside of Germany, in Berlin, in Potsdam, and he used to basically play the flute all the time, incessantly, and he used to basically get all these orchestra people to come in and musicians to come in and play his compositions, just whatever else is happening. It would be very, very annoying. So he would spend his whole time writing all these things. He's a very argumentative man. He had Voltaire as his tutor. And one of the things he did was he just used to play insane amounts of flute. He was a big, big enjoyer of the arts and used to just get all these people and go, yeah, none of your famous compositions, play mine. That was his thing. And they were of mixed quality, shall we say. Only found you guys stream recently. You're both great. You guys roommates or just live nearby? So we live together. I am Nymaera's older brother. So we are brothers, literally. That Alex is my younger brother. So we live together. I'm in the other room. But yeah, we are. It's a family cast, which is kind of cool. Which is a big one. I think that'll do for a fun fact. Took me a second. Question from Harry. Oh, the character sheet. Yeah, I can get that done by the end of the week. I should get that done. I really should. ADHD is ADHDing on that one. And the more stressed I get about it, the more I bury my head in the sand about it, which is not very helpful. Oh, I've got meetings as well this afternoon. That'll be fun. Where is Nymaera's name from? I can't tell you that. It's a running secret. You can figure it out. People have figured it out. But I won't say anything more than that. So, I'm older by a year. So I'm 14 months older, I believe. So a year and 2 months, something like that. But thank you for coming and following. Appreciate it. Nymaera knows stole his name from Out Nymaera. That's it. Yep, absolutely. Not some random dude who's got the name on Twitch somehow, some way.
Streamer, I think it's Game of Thrones. Wolf, Game of Thrones, what? What am I missing? It's Game of Thrones. It's not Game of Thrones. It's not Game of Thrones. Ah, Tien got it on them for Skarner. He did have a pretty good Skarner game, to be fair. I think I probably would have still given him to breathe, but I think Skarner was good. Tien was good. Yeah, good early gank onto Shanks. Yeah, fair. So it's not Nymaera yet. Not from that. Hey Zareb, good to see you. We're earlier in game 2. We want you. I will hopefully be streaming a Mere Masters. Yes, I need to double check what my rights are with that one, but I believe I've got that to happen, man. Hopefully that'll be good. What's the name of this song? I actually don't know. We've been trying to figure it out. It's probably, I think it's one that LPL commissioned. Yeah, 2 for top, 6 for jungle. Okay, interesting. But hey, good to see you, Lyman. But yeah, should be streaming a Mere Masters.
OPPO Find X8 系列夜景人像神器，夜拍超清晰，人
Big smile
像
from Iris.
MVP。
TCL X11H 领耀 QD Mini LED 电视，纯净画质，细节尽显，细腻光影，丰富明暗细节，典藏级影像体验。
We're chill.
TCL 皇冠战马。 更受中国电竞用户喜欢的能量饮料，更受年轻人
Hey Andrew, good to see you. The type mathematical sound song, yeah. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I actually genuinely don't, because I like it. It's got a serious swagger to it. Genuinely don't know. Let me run some maths we don't have in the next game. Need to do that. I guess water as well, actually. Flipping it. My voice is getting a bit dry.
上官方旗舰店搜奥风 G7， 今晚碾压局，你的车
就这样了吗？或者说，开局吗？
开就开。
Oh, nice chibi. Totally forgot about that game. What game are we talking? Well, they did beat WE with Nidshin, LeBlanc, MF Bard, so there is that, yeah. Oh my days. What about that game? Good to see you too. Yeah, that's good.
首先赢下这个 BO5，我感觉大家都非常开心嘛，然后也会感觉到非常的疲惫。这个 BO5对我们的意义就是感觉打之前肯定很多人不看好我们，然后我 我们也能赢下来，就是希望大家以后也能更多有一点信心。这轮对战 AL， 我觉得我们之前对战他们都是在一些前期的一些处理上就出了很大的问题，然后就被滚雪球滚到底了。然后我觉得我们 BO5 打他们一定要注意这部分的地方，就是我觉得我们如果能正常玩的话，前面不出问题，应该会赢得比较简单。常规赛的连败，我觉得很大问题都是我们对自己的团战可能缺少一些自信，就是每次都会输一些很奇怪的团，然后大家越打会越迷茫。然后季后赛的话，我们是其实这个过程中是一直强调我们团战要打得更好一点的，然后最近也是团战打得越来越好了。在队伍内的职责的话，就是一定要决定好哪波要打，然后哪波进攻或者防守这样子。
1 second. Relatively important email, this one. My Hansy's awful. Well, my kanji was also awful. Translate. Yeah, I'm gonna try and do it that way. Cute chibi. Yeah, they've got a few of those. I think they're the TFT chibis, aren't they? Morning. Yeah, just the one lad. Yeah, morning lad. Yeah, good to see you, Vita Manelli. Good to see you. Yeah, not really. I do not understand Hansi. Yeah, at least I can read kanji, not pronounce it. But yeah, you can't pounce on kanji. Yeah, hunter of kanji, huh? Hopefully getting ready for game 3 very shortly. I accidentally fell asleep. Well, welcome back to the lands of the living. Hello to both Morpika and Aurora. Good to have you in there. Give the fun fact, and I owe a compliment to one Harold Hamhand. Herodius Maximus, Lord of the Burgers, cooker of wonderful Italian food. Generally great person. He's a wonderful friend, is Harold. His sense of humor, and for the record, Harold is a wonderful laugh. It's like genuinely like there's something like very joyful about the way Harold laughs, that is just very uninhibited, that I very much appreciate. Keep that laugh, dude. It's very entertaining. I love it. Well, it's such a stream team that they always make to make step and players. We have been having this conversation all day, Ilshang. I'm so glad that you come in and completely get the vibe. They are the court jesters. They turn up and do the exact opposite of what you want to do. They are more KT than KT. At this point, KT are Weber. You know, they are taking in the footsteps of this team that is the most consistently inconsistent team of all time. Ridiculous. But into traffic. Ball game. Anyone's actually over on the blue side. Weber gaming over on the red. And it has been a blue side win thing for Weibo quite a lot. Maybe that's the consistency. I was talking about Rats early to game 2. You want to try and stream a Mere Masters tomorrow evening? That'll be the plan, hopefully. I'm waiting on confirmation that I can do it. I was told I should be able to, but I need to get some like links for there's a thingy I need to say here. I like the clean feed links, which I don't have yet. Mere Masters. I'll start tomorrow evening. Yeah, so the answer is yes. I just not heard back. I was told I should be able to, but then the person who was organising it was on break and hadn't got back to me, so I'm waiting on a response.
Okay, draft 3. For Yone, Jace, the Trundle. I mean, Yorick's out as well. You could go for early tank top laner. Which is not Gwen. Gwen is not that. Gwen comes through. Flandre had a really good start to the Gwen meta on this. He was something like a 42 KDA in his first couple of games on the champion. Breathe will have to find... I mean, Jax has been the quote-unquote answer into Gwen. Yeah. It's not always worked, but it feels like either Jace or Jax are the two champions you play into that. So maybe he's kind of pigeonholed into that now. I'm not sure what else he could go for.
Just a tank can deal with the fact he's going to suck eventually, but you can play for the team fights a bit more and just trust a weak side. They're going to early lock the Nymaera Initialise just to force a bit of a lane, dominant lane, so to speak. I think some of the easy answers are out, but Misfortune would still be up, and Hope. If you put a bit of time into that, you could happily lock that in, I wonder.
Ezreal too. Yeah. Ezreal's always been pretty good into the Xayah because Q outranges everything that Xayah does, really. So that would be quite an easy one to lock in. You can lock in whatever the hell you want alongside it too. You can go towards an Alistar particularly if you want to have a bit more frontline, a bit more engaged. Kyle's a very good player of it. Or Karma for lane dominance. So yeah. You've got some different options. If they look in the Karma, they have no engage. CC, yeah. No engage. They're just playing for lane dominance, which they did last game and failed with it. So that's a worry actually for me now. I'm not exactly sure where they're going to get all of them engaged from, especially with Yone and Annie down for engage from mid lane. There's not much from that, so you'd leave Tarzan as the sole engager. You have damage, you have good lanes, but it's not much to lock people up for.
Yeah, not a lot of ways to make sure that that damage actually happens. Kite back okay-ish with things like N and Ezreal, I guess, but it's not exactly the same in the grand scheme of things. It makes it quite hard to find your windows and opportunities to actually bring someone down, especially when Nymaera, Rakan, Ryze, notoriously quite slippery. Ryze in particular just gets to hit passive and go whee.
Just discovered this channel and we'll watch LPL games here because the audio is good. Cool. Well, if there are any audio issues, by the way, we do kind of figure things out on the fly, but we're lucky enough to have a very good microphone setup and then also the clean feed as well, which helps us an awful lot. So, second round of the draft, Anyone's Legend, they desperately need engage. Desperately need engage. You don't even have something like Ryze with pick potential. I guess Ahri could be okay if you play towards that, but you don't have the primary...
I think is there any weird picks that people like switched? I know there's been a few people who've like switched some top laners into mid occasionally. Is there anything there that would work? Like is a Sion mid into a
Sion into Ryze feels bad.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of other options to fight like jank them in.
And then some of the other issues are too. I mean, maybe you could look for like an engage with like a Lilia comp, but you have so much AP you can't do that now. I think Anyone's Legend are going to have huge issues with finding good enough engage. Now,
assuming they don't have a plan, I guess, but it feels awkward from where we're sitting.
But you know, we saw their plan last game with the Nidalee top, and that didn't work out particularly well for them. The Seraphine bot lane as well. No Jarvan coming through, which, I mean, the Galio and the Jarvan would have been nice, actually. I think that's quite intelligent by Weibo to ban them away, some of the last remaining engage options. I don't see what AL do to fix their draft like this. They must have cooked something. Well, I hope they've cooked something up because the last draft wasn't great either. Jax banned away for one of the good lane matchups into the Gwen. Could ban away Kennen maybe, Wukong instead.
Wukong might have been a decent engage option too to kind of force something. That's gone now as well. Shins are up and available. Maybe they're looking towards that to have the kind of double Thunderdome frontline, so to speak, with the Gwen and the Shins out. See what they can do with it all.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah, I mean, Tien could take away the Shins out, and then there's not that much which you can test you early at that point. So now, Tarzan has a really hard task. I mean, you could go, even if you go something like Maokai, it's still a lot of AP. I don't know what Anyone's Legends do to fix this draft. I genuinely don't. Yasuo Diana could be it, but even then, that's rough into Shinzo, pops the ultimate and stops you from having as much value. Silas doesn't have that much to work with. Could go for full poke with Zoe, but you don't have that much CC.
A lot of people who hate the Zoe poke, to be fair, and the Shin's are stolen away, as you noted, so a bit tricky. Silas is okay.
It's another AP threat, though. Yeah. You now have double AP solo laners.
Plus a Karma.
Merc and the Karma, yeah, so magic resistance side of Weibo gets a premium now. What does Tarzan go towards? Because you need an AD jungler. Do you go Volibear?
Zed and just play.
Are you really going to play Zed in this draft with 0 Cs?
It's just hand check.
You need engage. You don't need that. The Volibear might get locked in.
Okay,
but the
it.
problem with this now is Volibear is also mostly magic damage, or half magic damage, maybe a little less in jungle, where you tend to go towards like Sundered Sky. This is one of the worst drafts I have seen in this era, in like this split of League of Legends. The Sion last pick going towards the top lane is completely fine.
Like just Unending Despair.
This is anyone's legend.
Hollow Radiance.
Anyone's legend have locked in perhaps the worst composition I've seen in the LPL this split. I cannot believe this is the draft they've ended up with. Like their engage is a stolen Rakan ultimate or perhaps a stolen Sion ultimate. Besides that, you have a Volibear flash queuing. They have so much magic damage. As soon as Weibo get Sion with any amount of magic resist, I think their team fights get much harder. Maybe anyone's legend can win through good early laning phase and a huge snowball. They tried that last game, it didn't work. I think Weibo have a golden opportunity to take a win on red side, which is very, very rare. I say very rare, but it's definitely not the side with the advantage right now. Guys, your guess is as good as mine. Not exactly sure why anyone's legend locked in as little engage as possible. They better win early really hard.
For the I don't know, the vibes. The Vine. For the talk.
Oh, I thought you were like a replying to something in chat.
No.
Questions. Thank you so much for the 5 gift bomb, Angie.
Hey, well. Thank you, Angie.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. Wait, bro lost the last time you said the worst draft ever. Team won the game. I mean, I said that Anyone's legend had a bad draft last game. I said that too, so I was right in both the games in this series. Usually, magically, the worst drafts in the LPL could still win. I mean, that is definitely something which we know to happen within the LPL. Weibo are a wonderful team for both fans and haters alike, because they give plenty of material to both of them. So, let's get into the Rift and let's hear some of the gyros. And thank you again for the gift bomb, Katari, as well. Lots of people being very generous today, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, everyone, for helping us in our LPL journey. We're not the biggest stream out there, but we try and give you the best product we possibly can. I've spent God knows how many years of my life covering the LPL now. I was on the official broadcast for 2 years. Is it 2? Yeah, 2 years, 23, 24. And then coming into this year, I've still kept carrying that torch. I'm one of the most veteran LPL casters now in terms of the people that have stuck around for it. I've cast over 1,000 LPL games, and I still enjoy turning up to work. And I hope you enjoy that too. Another 5 gift bomb, this time from Adalast. We've got a hype train over on Twitch. Regardless of where you're watching, whether that is in Onivia, which is a restream of this stream over on Twitch, and on YouTube, for myself, Nymaera, and Initialise, my brother. Couldn't do it without him, of course. Both of us put a lot of time into this. It's great to be able to turn up into playoffs, and to really assess the level up. LPL playoffs doesn't always accurately reflect what happened in the regular season. A lot of teams don't necessarily find their feet until it is in those high-pressure best-of-5s. Level 1, obviously a very important part of the game for Ezreal Karma. Not getting a big chunk right now. Light Air getting access to farm. I mean, I think that Light Air are completely fine with their level 1 so far. They don't want to stack up for the 2 level Q, which is exactly what they do. Airhead there also pings the Q back, gets the heal off of it. Playing well on the Rakan there, actually. Airhead, not the best first game of the series. The second game was better. He's not been the main character so far. How can you stay sane from casting more than 1,000 LPL games? Am I sane? Questions upon questions. Shanks 3-0 on the pick of Silas. Hope 6-1 on the Ezreal. These are powerful champions for the individual players. Opinion of KC versus Fnatic performance? Frankly embarrassing from Fnatic. You know, they're a team which should be winning titles, and they've said that they should be winning titles. They're now 0-2. They haven't made a single final. Things are not good for them. And the coaching staff has echoed that. Of course, team like JDG, perhaps with their run into the lower bracket now, we'll see whether they have a similar crash out as potentially Fnatic may have. Tarzan, I mean, let's be honest, folks. Anyone's legend need to get something done probably within the first 15 minutes of the game.
That's pretty insane.
I'm being a little generous with saying first 15 minutes. I wanted to see good level 1s, maybe a gank at level 3 to snowball a lane and get a flash out of it. That's not happened yet either.
Well, you know what else needs to happen in very short order? We've got 2 minutes 44 left on this hype train. Yeah, that needs to happen in short order too, folks. So now how it is, as topside gank comes on down.
Oh.
He's dead! He's gonna hit the Destiny Smash! That's crashing out in real time.
Flandre's Gwen, a pick which has been so powerful, just gave over first blood to the tank which can stack magic resist and make anyone's Legend's life an absolute hell. This is a very good gank from Tien in the overall importance of the game. Tien can stick around, get this topside scuttle. Weibo, that is a gift!
Alex could just see me with my head in my hands right now. I am horrified.
Yeah. JDG eliminated? No, JDG are not eliminated. There is a lower bracket. Weibo beat them to send them down into the lower bracket. JDG will now face Team WE, I believe on... Might be tomorrow, actually, they play against them. Not exactly sure the order of the games.
I swear to God, if Weibo Gaming somehow, after a season of mediocrity, make another international event, Xiaohu goes to another MSI.
Folks, I genuinely think Weibo are more KT Rolster than KT Rolster. Yes, KT Rolster, like they have this whole, wow, never believe in them, they're so inconsistent, blah, blah, blah. Weibo actually do that, then win and go to international events. Xiaohu not going to get hit by the E, does have the W onto him, gets that passive down, but...
It's all comes on damage as well. It's not really lethal that much, is it? So...
Nah, it's just not enough damage. Xiaohu's just looking to get the wave in the right kind of place. Shanks will have to tank the wave here, which is not his favorite thing ever. Xiaohu doesn't actually get the full crash here, which is a bit annoying for him.
That to be able to play with the cannons there, that's not a
Tarzan's coming over. Xiaohu does see him. I think Tien needs to be here. Kyle could come in for the
Tien is there.
3-man play. Shanks will now start to push the wave back out. Xiaohu will get access to farm. Not a bad attempt by Shanks to try and manipulate the wave, get Xiaohu into a bad position.
He's still gonna have to stick around in lane. We'll finally crash it, but the reset gets to be a potential option for Shanks, but instead looks for Roam instead. Throws down a ward over the mid lane wall. Flandre about to be dived here. Is in his own hallowed mist though. Welcome to the dance floor. A Space Groove Gwen throws up a disco ball and says you can't hurt me under here.
A question in chat. Who do we think are the top 3 teams within LPL right now? Obviously, we're in the process of deciding that. Tarzan's going to take that first dragon. That being said, you know, this is bare minimum. You need to get the objectives. You need to get those kills. And bare minimum, I do mean bare minimum. No, Sam, that's a separate reference. The bare minimum is making a word pun on
bear. I know, I wanted to join you with...
No, but Sam, then you have to set it... We are professionals, Sam. I expect better for you. Whatever. Some 3 LPL teams. I mean, I think BLG are, for me, best team in the region. I think as soon as Top Esports showed that performance against them, that became... look, MSI is... BLG are going to MSI for me. They would have to be 2 teams better than them to deny them that, and I don't think that's the case. Anyone's Legend, with these drafts... I might have to revise my opinion of them. They are a very good team at revising how they go about the game. You know, have a very advanced coaching staff. Strategically, they are a very impressive team. But somehow, some way, Weibo are on the list now after beating JDG. BLG, the only thing I know for certain is BLG is our top team right now.
Yeah.
After that, we have a clump of teams that need to figure their stuff out.
Yeah, because it should be Top Esports, but they got rolled, and it was not close. And a lot of the cracks I'd seen forming through the regular season got exposed very hard there. That was a little bit problematic. Of course, now we need to give a look potentially to topside area. Tries to find an angle and hope buffers well through that with the arcane shift. And again, it's not like I'm looking at any of these players and going, oh, you're on champions, you're uncomfortable on. It's just as a composition. How do you start fights anyone's Legend? Like Karma W? Ooh.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you have to start it with like a stolen Rakanal. That's as good as it gets. No, you have to get either a massive macro outplay where people are massively out of position, and single target CC will do enough. And I just don't see how you get that now. I mean, Light is down a bit of CS. Okay, winning lane for AL in the bot lane, sure, but then you've had to lock in a Karma to achieve that, which doesn't help you in mid and late game. Weibo are fine with some lane deficits as long as they get towards mid-game within a decent amount of gold. They're actually ahead currently in terms of that gold. Grubs are spawning. Weibo, as long as they don't die for a Grubs fight or something like that, I think Weibo are very happy.
Yeah. Again, we've seen low CC comps work before, but they normally have other ways to play the game. Poke, great example of that back in the day. You could go the edge, or you could have gone for a poke comp maybe, but that's...
Or major split pushing or something like that.
Or just like really good skirmishing. Like, yeah, I've got Neferi, I can win by getting on top of you and killing you.
sometimes you see that, and maybe you can try and do that this game, but Grub's being contested right now. Tarzan presses Q and goes wee woo. But that's about all he can do. Instead attacks a Grub. Light now coming on down. He's a little bit deep, but can begin to throw some feathers. The Deadly Boom comes on down.
Wow, forcing the away.
And that's a Grub taken in turn from Weber.
So that's 2 for 1. Shank's coming through. That's cancelled on the realm warp.
It is indeed. Look for a bit more of a play. TN with a good crest go, but it's returned in favour by Shank. Beginning to heal himself. Gets shielded by Karma. Flashes away from TN. He's looking to get for another 3 Talon Strike. Light into the air with the Feather Storm, trying to get some value as Tarzan brings down 1. Shanks goes looking for him. Gone to the duck. Over the wall they go. Kyle flashes on in. Gets the focused resolve onto Xiaohu, who tries to run best he can. Mystic Shot just wide. Light no mana. Xiaohu no health. And that makes this very dicey. The Mystic Shot lands. Ezreal ult. True Shot Barrage tags him. Another down. Good call on that one, Nymaera. Now we can continue to look under this turret as Light, I think, might be turning into Grey Scream very shortly. Another pickup for anyone's legend. They skirmish their way to another set of kills.
The one thing that Weibo couldn't afford to do, giving up a big fight at the Grubs, of course happens because it's Weibo. Anyone's legend get 4 kills and Weibo buy into a fight that they should know they don't need to take. At worst, give up 1 kill or something. You don't have to rally around to die in unison. Weibo were on a great trajectory from the early game. This is bad terrain for Weibo. I think that Xiao had to immediately flash out, but I typically has been very good at realizing that. Just flash out immediately. Don't give the chance to have the realm lock cancelled. And then leave. Just leave. Leave someone to die, not everyone. No, Tarzan forcing another flash out from Light from the slow potential of the E alongside the chains on Shanks there. A big mistake from Weibo to not just lose 1, but then kind of not cut their losses.
True Shot Barrage tagging Xiaohu there. I mean, there was no real way out as well with Kyle on the other side with another W up, but that is a rough sequence to have happen to you. And we said, look, we're not a massive fan of anyone's Legends composition per se, but we've never necessarily had issues with their hands.
I just can't believe I'm saying, like, well, I guess there's one way the game could go badly, and that's dying a Grub. Of course it happens. Of course it happens after that point. It's Weibo bloody gaming. That's actually what the B stands in there. It's not just Weibo. It's Weibo bloody gaming. We're very British.
Weibo bloody gaming.
Weibo British gaming.
Huge tracts of grubs.
So now you have 1,000 gold lead on Hope's Ezreal, which is the one physical damage threat really on this team from anyone's legend. Weibo, I mean, if they now need to make sure they don't fall too far behind. Dragon is now spawned. Weibo did get themselves 1 Grub, which stops the 3 being put through from anyone's legend, but they will need to be aware that they are now playing against a significant deficit for this point in the game.
What you consider this Dragon family, a very real, very legally binding sense.
Shanks now trading up with Grieve, who just yells. Got good breath control to pull off a yell like that. Roar of a Slayer.
Yep, and it comes out with some phlegm attached to it too, so his dental hygiene not the best. Tarzan claims another dragon, and we'll see what soul we get. Ocean Soul. Okay, so that's, you know, pretty impactful when you have tanks on the game, and you have some, I say in that terms of the sign, doesn't apply to Anil's Legend, but it does help with the shields and stuff too. Anil's Legend will want to make sure they use this Ezreal like a wrecking ball. They need to use this early advantage. Kyle doesn't have flash. You get caught out here.
Again, a bit of a chunk there onto the Karma, who backs away but has lost a little bit of their HP. Really led to all that much early on. It's actually gone towards the 8th Wisp here early, so it's not necessarily a... I'll have a moment. What's the one that gives you empowered shielding and healing?
I don't know support items. I don't touch the roll.
Dream something?
Dream Spike.
Moonstone, that's what I'm thinking.
So like the Dream Spike is the support item. That's without components into it.
Yeah, no, it's Moonstone Renewer is the one I'm trying to remember.
Tien doesn't have flash, does have ultimate to use it. He's caught out here badly.
Oh, turns into a pin cushion, and Gwen will make sure that he's helping her sew some new clothes.
So he didn't have the flash. No one was coming up to help him. Quite lazy positioning there from Tien. Weibo can't afford to give up these easy picks. This is exactly what AL want to do in this early game. They're now ahead solid 2,000 gold. And Weibo can't. That is the way they lose this game. It is in fact the only way they really lose this game. AL will really struggle to teamfight later into the game. Weibo need to keep an eye on that. Breathe has himself his first magic resist item of the game, which is bad news for anyone's legend because means that the Gwen gets less value, the Silas gets less value in their side lane as well. If Breathe gets ahead on the magic resist matchup into this team, it's a big problem because AL are very much overloaded on that damage type.
That they will. Again, we'll keep our eyes on it because they're trying to pull a Doctor Strange here, or anyone's actually find the one way to victory that exists from the draft. And so far, in fairness to them, for all we've had our, I think, legitimate complaints, they have actually played out the early game well here.
They have. Weibo left the opening, but now they have that lead. Let's see if they can do something special with it. I think the Silas has some... You need to stop punching the microphone, Sam. It's like the 3rd time today. What's it done to you, Sam? All it's done is carried our voices to the world. Huh?
Genuinely what it is the pop shield is out of vision of my... get the glasses block it off from me. And if I'm looking at the screen, I don't look down because I'm looking at the screen, so I can't actually see it. It's in a legit blind spot.
That's... should learn that from driving, Sam. Doesn't mean that. Oh, by the way, the car was in my blind spot, you know. I didn't mean to crash into it. Get that sticker on the back of the glasses, wide load or something. No, that's for trucks. It's a little bit different. Okay, anyway. Going very much off-road. And we don't have a 4x4. We only got the 2 of us here.
5v5, actually.
Yeah, I know. Shame that they got rid of the 6v6 mode for Overwatch, you know. The game really fell apart after that. 2 minutes till Dragon. Side lanes, not really doing much for anyone's Legend right now. And at least for Weibo, the gold lead's not increasing, but they're not really getting any presence on the map now. Tian falling behind in the early game on the Shinzao means that the Shinzao will struggle to be as useful as well.
We are going to hit a point as well where, particularly if you start getting Ocean Soul, things like Ezreal, things like Gwen and Silas in a side lane become a lot harder to manage in those 1v1s or small-scale skirmishes. Team fights a little different. That, at least, could be very tricky. A minute and a half until that's a potential option.
Good point from Mabinogi in chat as well. Good friend of ours, Sarah, saying that the Shirellia is coming through for Kyle. Kind of engage light. That's not a bad point, actually. Giving the Shirellias to the Volibear to run forwards, the Gwen too, it helps you use what limited ability you have to gap close a little better with some extra move speed thrown on top of it, especially with someone like Tian, who, if they have to go backwards without the flash, can really struggle to do so. Some big chunks getting an all-in on top side.
Get a fairly decent chunk there. Petrified Burst comes on through, eats a bit of damage back, but is happy enough with the slightly more successful trade. Tian now coming on down.
Weibo, let's not die for this too bad. They do get towards the Herald now and they start leashing it. Here comes the Gwen sign in as well. Maybe Breathe can be a big enough frontline for them.
Tian went forward onto the Herald with audacity. Realm Warp into the backside as Shadow turns on up. Chain Slam comes on through. Trying to find somebody Shank's a little split off, but will hijack a Crescent Guard.
Why did he give him the option to do that? Breathe now trying to hold the front line. Can Tian get a smite steal?
All the while, the back end, Xiao Hu is being traded out with Shanks. The Herald was secured all the while by Tian. Continue to play for now, as in they go with the Stormbringer. Looking for some damage. Wait for the Feather Fall as well. Could be very scary. Light looking to find an angle. He's going to go down. The fence gone through too late. They're still going to win Shirelia's value as they just walk at them menacingly. And they win the fight. A triple kill over to the side. I hope he can't quite bring down the Sion with a true shot barrage, but the work is done.
All Weibo needed to do was not die at these early objectives. That was their route to loss, and they found the eye of the needle and threaded it anyway. Anyone's Legend coming away with a significant early lead. Yes, the Herald was killed by Weibo, but they don't even get to pick up the eye itself. It's not in any of their inventories. There's a smite steal, but Weibo, you are playing with very dangerous early games here. Now, Xiao, who's left alone versus the Stars, who's not winning the 1v1 versus right now. Tian also gave him access to the Shinzao ultimate very early on. Not really sure that was a good idea. Flash of Flash, still going to be Shanks staying alive, right? And because it's a fight on multiple angles, the tank of Breathe Sion can't really keep his team safe. He's the last one to die in the team, but it's because his team chose to take fights without him in front of them.
I genuinely worried for anyone's Legend partway through that because the feathers were all lined up perfectly and the cooldown wasn't available for life.
This is really important. This is really important right here, so we'll have to cut off that conversation. If they get this dragon, they can delay the dragon stacking. They need to not die for it again.
Back to the backside, they can get to stop this dragon stacking. Look to lay this one out regardless. Shanks with the quickness stolen. Can look to go into the backline. Looking now. Finds the abduction on top of the Zaya, who's dead. Hope will Arcane shift forward. Root still lands onto Xiao, despite him taking the blast cone. Z-axis, not really a thing in League of Legends, although Shanks gets a chunk onto Tian, who does get some decent healing back. Dragon secured, though, in trade for just one. What could be worse?
So that's the best objective trade they've had this game, but they only lose one person. Still the AD carry, though. And Weibo, the wheels are coming off the train a little bit. Anyone's Legend are getting very large gold leads. They get in the mid lane, outer turret pushed in as well, which makes it harder for Weibo to play defensively. Mid lane turret, very important for keeping vision and pressure and presence up on the map. Flandria will take bot lane outer turret as well. And Anyone's Legend, real credit to them, they've managed to find multiple angles in these big early fights, find ways to execute with good early damage, but without that CC, and they might just be able to make this composition work. This is not a good draft. We were saying that from the champion select, and you can understand why. But playing it like this is about the only way you can win with it. And welcome to the LPL, where sometimes the champions locked in don't matter.
Shirelia's value is genuinely proving really high. I'm glad Mabby called it out. I was wondering what the Aether Wisp was going to turn into. There's your answer. That is helping, and in fairness to anyone's legend, every single member wants to run forwards if they can, especially Hope with all these kills as well. Target access is what you're really after this game, so any way to continue jumping forward, to continue getting into melee range is very, very valuable here. Always being able to follow up because the CC isn't. You just have to hit your skill shots instead.
Hope with this amount of gold can win any team fight for them now. I think with this amount of gold, early 2 items, going to get the two. Hang on, here comes the Realm Warp, trying to make a big macro play. If they can, but there's no wave. They're going with Breathe first, but he doesn't have that much armor to tank the turret.
Dash will come through that part. Flandre does get a fair amount of needle working through. It's a decent amount of healing, buying a lot of time. It's taking a long time for Flandre to fall. Will eventually go down, and Breathe is tanky enough to be a problem. Tarzan, though, roams towards this mid-tier 2, and that might well be the trade. Weibo will get a turret and a kill, but all the while, Shanks is shoving top. Tarzan, I hope, will get the mid-tier.
However, Weibo have the objective bounties, so they will get more out of this. The fact that they have objective bounties is
hilarious.
Just tells you the way this game has been going, of course. Xiaohu will get some extra gold out of that. Weibo scrambling to get some value out of the map. The top lane matchup hasn't been the big issue, which potentially can be in other games. Gwen into tanks, typically very, very scary. Breathing out 2 items. If Weibo can have a fight around Breathe being the front line, maybe there's an angle, but their carries have so little damage now. It's going to be a big issue cutting down anyone. Andre clearing out the wave well. And as you were saying before, basically, you know, Breathe doesn't have that much armor. Flandre very nearly turns it around. Yes, it's still hanging on fight in the jungle.
Tien has his crescent guard broken, and oh my days, Hope's damage is foul. Does go and secure the kill on Tien with a little assistance from the rest of the squad. Shanks lives up to his namesake. He's gone for a second item, Medjais. 12 stacks.
And look, this is a game where you need to snowball. You need to go through that early game. Good recognition from Shanks saying, okay, let's snowball. Let's get this power in the early game. And if I die anyway, let's be honest, the game would have already been difficult. So, Medjais, that's the item for you. I wish more players had that kind of recognition. It'd be very important to notice that kind of snowballing. Atakan's going to go down on the top side of the map. Weibo looking to get a chunk onto mid lane out of turret, but they can't finish it at all.
Shanks has still got the hijack crescent guard as well, so he's very scary here. While Flandre has burned his needles somewhere in the play. Backs away, potentially looking to nab some Krugs.
I just can't believe that Weibo through all those early fights, man. Just
I can. Just
Weibo. But like, think about it this way, folks. This is the game state they have for getting a grub and the Herald denied. They didn't get to use it themselves. What would the game look like if AL did get 3 grubs and the Herald, but they didn't get those kills? Yes, maybe a turret or 2 falls, but I think that you wouldn't get nearly as much gold on the Ezreal. I feel like Weibo would be so much more happy with that. This will be one for review, folks. I think Weibo not aware of how at risk they were at those early fights where arguably AL are strongest compared to them before it really becomes about big team fight 5v5 later with more CC. Flandre gets hit by that slow, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Weibo trying to move around the map to support that push in topside.
Seems to be. Tien off vision here. Could try and catch one out, also on a flank angle. And we will still have this issue for anyone's legend that they do not have that much CC. Flandre is about to potentially get jumped here. He's down at half HP. Has got a Rift Maker, so theoretically can Omni-Vamp his way back up to something resembling some safety.
Not sure about that one.
But I don't think he'll have any opportunity to. And Weibo do get a nice, easy kill there onto the Gwen with no real response from anyone's legend.
No, this is important for Weibo because, again, any amount of gold they get like this, towers like this as well, they won't get an objective bounty. They claimed that one earlier. Closes the gap a little bit more and brings things back towards parity. The closer towards that they get, the more they can play around a 5v5 teamfight identity with a strong tank they can get towards later.
Got down there onto Flandre, who does end up getting taken out. They can look at this tier 2 as well. They'd love to try and look at the Dragon potentially here. Soul Point, still a wink on here for anyone's legend, but for all we've been going away, but what the hell was that in the early game? We still have compositional issues. They can still look to be problematic as this tier 2 is just being run at by Weibo. I feel like they finally hit the point where they can be dangerous. Still though, maybe an angle here for anyone's legend. Hijacked quickness.
Flandre didn't have teleport, it would have been very dangerous to go in towards that play, because that's the kind of fight where you would have to go through the Scion, and that's the kind of fight which you're at risk of losing. Maybe Hope can make that less of a factor because he is so strong on the Ezreal and can actually do significant damage to the side of his built majorly.
Another Negatron cloak.
He's going towards the Jack show at this point because he's got the chain vest in there as well, and that will make it very hard to cut through him. Dragon will be taken by anyone's legend, but by taking that one dragon earlier did delay the soul coming through. That is actually the most important objective they've taken in this game so far. They lost the one kill for it earlier. I guess the towers falling afterwards made it less good of a trade at that point, but at least denying an early dragon soul makes a difference.
3 steps on forward, Soul Furnace running, and of course Hope nowhere near anything like a Cyrilda, so doesn't really touch this Scion right now. Flandre will spot Weibo Gaming in the river. We've got ourselves about 1 minute and 20 until Baron. Takan on the...
Shanks on the flank, What? Look at it.
That quickness gets a big chunk onto Light. Does go up into the air. Crescent Guard comes down from Tien. Has yet to pull the feathers back. Still in danger. They've blown up the volley bet. But Tien likely to be traded. But good flash over the wall keeps him alive. Shanks goes flashing for the chain lash though. Needles flying. in danger. Misses the grand entrance because it backed away from. Realm Warp out. Light just out of range of the abduction. He'll keep people running away and alive.
Forward! Forwards!
He's going to get run on. Eric has to knock him alongside the decimating smash. And Weibo can look to win the team fight, but all the while Shanks is so bloody deadly. Kyle's giving him all the shields. They can't bring down Silas. He's utterly terrifying. They can get to Karma though. Xiao trying to run, trying to buy time, can't. And now Shanks in the 1v1 with this Scion. He's got no ult, no flash. He's just got HP in a dream. And Shanks wins these. He's got 25 stacks after this fight. He wishes he had a few more pages available in this volume to continue getting more value. Misses that abduction.
He can't
quite kill him.
It ends up being a 4 for 4. All things said and done, and we see what the game could have been like if Weibo hadn't thrown the early plays. You look at me, you look at this game, and you envisage what it could have been if Weibo weren't that far behind. Weibo have a very, very good front to back. The Scion is unkillable. They have carries which should be able to stand behind them and gun down the first member into the play. Weibo, you could have had such an easy win if you had not entered in the early game. Starts off the Shanks with the quickness, great damage onto Light, does manage to disengage. And look how much better it looks when Tien and Breed get to stand in front of the carries when they actually get towards multiple items. They don't have the damage to kill through Breed. They give so much freedom for the backline of Weibo to actually get damage back.
A Realm Warp away actually gives them the potential re-engage against Shanks. Now missed 2 abductions onto Light in this fight. It's the melee range one and that long range one just doesn't quite work out. And then that from Hope, kind of sucks.
I will say, also kind of sucked though from Light, who ran into melee range of Shanks. Like Light's positioning in this series so far has been poor. His Varus in game 1, not one he'll want to revisit. Right here, walking close enough towards Shanks. I know he thinks, yes, I'm cleaning up the last kill. Your Scion is not dying. He can do it for you. You don't have to die. We are within 2,000 gold, 2.5 minutes on the Dragon. But the big problem is, it's just the carries of Weibo. I'm just worried that they don't have the damage to make it worthwhile for the tank of Breed to be staying alive. The Scion staying alive doesn't matter if no one is actually making use of the time you buy.
That's for sure. Ezreal, picked up a spear of Shojin is now as well. Has not gone towards anything like Cyril. Just wants to get through as many attacks and abilities as he can.
Well, it's not like there's that much armor on the other side, right?
No.
There's more mainly about that increase, the raw % increased damage from Shojin, which gives you, what, 12% of max stacks at 4. And then, of course, the extra cooldown ends up giving you over the course of it. So, Weibo, you're at 2.5 items now yourself. Breathe gets himself the Jack Show, which makes him, oh my god, so hard to kill because of the increased resist you get from it. He has an extra 1200 HP from his Soul Furnace stacking. He has level 16. Breathe, if he peels well enough, maybe there's a hope for Weibo, but AL, 25 stack Magi's on the Silas, starting up Baron now. They want to force another fight.
Cosmic Drive's done as well, and an arm guard for Shanks.
Light's running out of base, he's not here right now. It's a slow drag Baron start, but they're coming towards it anyway.
Right back on, TP's not coming him down. Shanks looks to body block off to the side. Tien is around, has not got flash, but does have the ability to throw some wind into lightning and then audacious charge in. It's difficult to keep Xin Zhao out of the pit.
Yeah, Xin Zhao ult just stolen again. Again, very, very good at becoming that temporary front line. Baron has stopped. It was a long Baron take. Top lane inner turret falls, but no one's around for the local gold. It doesn't matter as much. Shanks still on the flank.
45 seconds on Soul for anyone's legend as well. They can start to pull people around. Breathe. Hit with the focus resolve into the backline goes Flandre, who's hit by the quickness, goes golden, buys some time, flashes away. Now Shanks in the backside, looking for an angle, has a crescent guard. Light's been split off. Needs to try to got a barrier, trying to buy some time, he can't quite find the Featherfall. And Shanks brings him down. He's healing. The Kingslayer comes on through the Realm Warp, buys some time, and they get out with it. But they can't bring down Shanks. He gets his man and gets out alive. And look who's split off. It's Breed.
Light with another awful team fight. Doesn't hit the ult when the chain flies towards him. You don't have the HP to tank a 25 stacked Medjai's Silas. Light needed to back up the fact that his frontline can survive so long, but he doesn't deliver on the promise. Yet again, anyone's legend will get themselves an Ocean Soul after the mistake from Light.
Ocean Soul is there. Suddenly, got a lot of people who love to abuse that. Will start way back at the beginning of this play.
So, mistake from Weibo first by taking a big play away from their front line. Breathe is not there to delay in the same kind of way. And then this is the big play here, right? Light, just press your ult. Just press your ult. You've got to keep track of that as Storm abducts. There's no body block there. There's an angle towards it. Light going down so easily means there's no damage left after this point. It's a great Realm Warp to stop it being a complete cleanup after this point. I mean, great job from Xiaohu. But Light, you must do more than this. Breathe has to kill the wave just to make sure there's no chance of like an inhib going down after.
Still Soul is still a lost team fight. It's just it could have been worse, which is slightly dour to say in the grand scheme of things. But now Baron on the table for anyone's legend, and they have that Soul.
The other side too, how well has Shanks been playing? We were saying that, hey, the Silas could be an X factor, the quickness, the Shinzo ultimates. 25 stack Medjai's, 3 items, going towards his Zonya's next as well. Shanks has been godlike. He has been so insane. Now, I think it is right to call out the mistakes from Weibo as well, it is, but Shanks has been the one to force those errors in a certain way. Now, Weibo do have 3 items now on carries. Is that enough for a comeback? Ocean Soul now on the other side. Makes it even harder. Yes, there's a Morelnomicon from Xiao who will cut down some of that healing.
Wise, I think, actually.
Exactly. No, especially with that coming through. Xiao called out. Does have flash. Needs to use it.
Oh, he flashes for a moment, but has so many needles. He eats so much damage. Down to 10% HP.
Scion's teleporting in. Is tanky. Uses their ult to go out. That's typically the way you play the Scion. You walk forwards and ult backwards to make sure you're not stuck into the play. Xiao who can recall. Doesn't have teleport. Does have ult if he needs to get back somewhere quickly.
See the play. No TP on Xiaohu, has the Realm Warp. No TP on Breathe. Back to the Baron we go.
Big problem here though. Light just got chunked out for free. Not exactly sure why. He was trying to clear out the wave, but lost 2/3 of his HP. Another Q because he walks 2 forwards up into that. Realm Warp now coming back in for Xiao, who's getting close towards the plate.
Breathe now spots the Baron's going down. Ura tries to find an angle on the color, flashes away. Over goes Hope, does half the HP of this Ricard. True shot barrage. Forces the Locket Shield. Breathe now buying up some space, trying to make sure the Hope isn't hitting some more valuable turn from anyone's legend as they look for the angle. Stormbringer into the backside. They lose the jungler. Fight now difficult, but Shanks Crescent guards the team apart. Tien in danger. Xiaohu in danger. Backline tricky. Good Zonyas from Flandre by space and time. Light being snuffed out again. Can't run far enough away. And Breathe goes down as well. That's the team fight. White in favor of anyone's legend.
Anyone's legend don't need a Baron. They'll clean through the team. A teleport towards topside, and what I call the worst draft of LPL this split may just be walking away with a win off the back of a huge carry performance for Shanks in the mid lane.
What fight should they not have taken, Alex?
All of the early ones, Sam. Weibo still had a chance. Missteps from Light, who is struggling in this series, put Weibo into the dirt. Shanks is the carry for anyone's legend, but Weibo must rue this decision to take those early fights. They fall in an easy game 3 in what should have been so favored towards them.
Blue side win rate still undefeatable, apparently. 2-1 now towards anyone's legend. Weibo Gaming wondering how the hell it came to this.
Questions upon questions. Shanks, Silas, what a performance from that. That being said, you know, going into the late game with that kind of advantage, they were still losing the first kill in every fight. There were multiple points in that last game where, again, I really have to criticize Light. He entered that Baron fight at half HP because he contested on Ezreal, who is so far ahead of you and counters you in that part of the game on the mid wave. Then he takes more chunk from the Karma ult Q as well. Lots of questions there. I think that, yeah. And folks, this is the nature of the LPL and sometimes teams in the LPL.
Yeah.
That was a massive draft advantage to Weibo. They still lost that game. Anyone's legend, very, very good play from Shanks on the Silas in the mid lane. But I hope this doesn't give them the false positive that they should draft that again. That was very, very difficult to play. Should realistically have netted them a loss if they didn't get that early goal.
Yeah, how many times we see Tarzan go in and then immediately dies? Hey, ult died. There is something slightly ironic about Volibear, which looks like this big, beefy bruiser, sort of being paper at that point in the game.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what the opponent's comp is, you forgot the fact that Weibo is the most consistently inconsistent. Exactly! You know, funnily enough, that's the one which I started. Yeah. That team never makes any sense, really. In your opinion, who's the next player from every region to make Hall of Legends? I think it has to be Double F from NA. From Europe, I think you...
might be an option as well.
Double F from NA, I think he was playing earlier from Season 1, and he played, yeah. I think that from EU, I think you could argue towards Peke, Reckless, Perks, Caps, but, you know, 3 of them are still vaguely playing.
Yeah,
so it might be
Froggen might be an option as
Froggen
well.
or Alex Siege or Diamond Prox, probably Diamond Prox above that. But I don't think they would want to go towards that because he never won an international... Well, he won the early international titles, but people forget about that now.
Well, we're having that debate as well, whether we start doing like classes, like the EU Midsman year, where you start getting like Alex Siege, Froggen, and Xpeke. That's kind of like a Hall of Legends package.
And then for China, Mako. I think it has to be Mako. Korea, I think it has to be Deft. Yeah, it has to be Deft, especially as he stop playing now. Yeah. Deft also kind of applies to both because he's a multi-region champion as well. I will get Hydro.
That's true. I need to do the same.
Wanna get yourself a drink?
Yeah, we'll do. I'll put the kettle on.
Although I'm probably not going to use the kettle, but you know. Compliment for Dom. Let me think. I appreciate how you don't fall into the same kind of like you're very behind the teams that you support, but you don't fall into the mistakes that those fan bases make. Like, you still call out your fellow fans, and you have a very good code of honor. I appreciate that an awful lot. The answer is who has the biggest marketing value? Yeah, no, it is for sure, which is a sad thing. It's not really a Hall of Fame. It's, you know, Hall of Legends, it's not really a Hall of Fame. JDG lost this? Hell yeah, they did. Welcome to Weibo, the most confusing team in the world. A while back, I remember you comparing Weibo to Fnatic. Do you still think the teams are similar given their playoff performance so far? That was last year when Fnatic were way more random and inconsistent and blah blah blah. I'd like to point out that Bright said they weren't going region by region on Hall of Legends. No, they're not, but eventually they'll have to come around to a first player from each region, right? Going by role. Okay, well... support is Mako. Top lane... I don't know. Top lane's hard. Actually not sure on top lane. His top lane has rarely stayed... I mean, hey Aratina, good to see you. Look, the Shy is probably... I mean, the Shy, unironically, probably is the guy that you want to put in, less Khan. Also, support, there is also there is an angle for Beryl as well. I don't think they're going to do active players outside of Faker. No, I would agree with that, but it's just, if it's all about marketing, you know. God, I don't know what you do with top lane. I mean, you could argue some like Khan, but he never actually won an international event. Beryl or Mako for support. I would love for there to be like a group of 5 players all inducted at once, like Insect, Mad Life, and then like all of the people who made moves after them have named moves after them. I don't think he put in Zeus for... Zeus is too recent. Zeus is way too recent. He's not like... He's like a recent legend. He's not... And while he might be greatest top laner of all time if he gets like another international title, blah, 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 he's still way too fresh. I mean... Ooh, Duke. Ooh, Duke is actually an interesting one. Smeb, Duke. But then the problem is, again, where's the marketing value? The problem, Uzi and Faker, like, everyone knew them for so long. I don't know who you put in now. Xiaohu probably should be in there at some point. Xiaohu is fantastic. But look, in my Hall of Fame, I would put people like Flame, Diamond Prox, or whoever. Who's already go into that? Shanks, I mean, it has to be Shanks, right? Yeah, guy was insane. It would have been so much better if they went year by year and inducted chronological order. Well, that's what I would have done, because that's a proper Hall of Fame. But this is, you know, it is mainly a marketing thing, right? And I do understand that. I should argue Score should be there. Score is a great call for jungle. Score is an awesome call for jungle. Guy was so good for so long. But again, he never won an international title, and people will hold that against him. Fun fact for Xerath, let me think. Score was famous for playing Hillbilly Gragas to the point where people just associated Hillbilly Gragas with him, even though Arctic Hop Gragas had like a visual bug, which made it much easier to play. It made you could like hide your ult in your Q animation. He would always still play Hillbilly Gragas, and he was still the best Gragas in the world. The immortal Score, yes, and Score used to be an AD carry. He was an AD carry before he was a jungler. And he's maybe the most successful role swap. I mean, there was Xiaohu, Score, Ambition. They're probably the 3 best role swaps. Unanimous, of course, is unanimous. Guy was insane. What patch are they playing on? 0.11, 2511. Duke better than Smeb? At peak, it's a really fun conversation. The Smeb in Season 6 was so good. All the way up until Season 8, really. Season 9, he fell off hard. If you have a moment, blah, blah, blah. What would your expectation of MSI, assuming all teams from all regions are in peak performance? I mean, Gen G peak performance are ridiculously good. BLG at peak performance went 5 games in World Finals, though. But then again, they're playing with a less strong jungler now, probably. I gotta run some Twitch adverts real quick, because we're low on the pre-roll. Roast for duo. When are you renaming to Solo Maiden? Because you got no bitches. When's the Solo Maiden? Oh. Yeah, in terms of, it's really hard to tell peak performance, because often that depends a bit on meta and what champions are played. For instance, you know, if BLG in a peak BLG meta where they can play like Kalista or Renata on cooldown, dive bot lane tons, have been diffing people in solo laners, Knight being arguably best player in the world. It's either him or Chovy right at peak. I think if everyone's at peak performance, is you've got like a couple of players that really stand out when you have like Chovy, Knight, Zeus. Canyon Peak's insane too though, isn't he? Why is my mic? Is my microphone actually a little quiet today? Maybe it is. I don't know why. Questions. You have a duo, he's initialized and you cast? Damn. Nim, maybe out of context, but I remember when you were still covering Japanese League. What do you think of their state now? Well, thank you. That's very flattering for people to remember back to LGL. I love my LGL days, right? Look, the LGL's in a bad state. They've really struggled to come up with a next string of talents to replace outgoing players. Like, so Utapon hasn't come back. I think basically with the LCP moving to Taipei, a lot of players didn't want to leave Japan. A lot of people went to LGL to live in Japan because it's a nice place to live. And I think now it's moved to Taipei. A lot of players didn't want to go with them. I think that a lot of the money in the scene dried up. Like, there is no money in the second scene in Japan really now anymore. There are a couple of teams which would pay well, but that's not the case. So the LGL is really rough. I predict they'll do maybe 10 Hall of Fames. Well, that is 10 years. That's a decade. That's a long time. I mean, I think it'll take a lot less time for them to realize whether that's going to happen or not. What about Doublelift? He's one of the greatest players from NA. I think Doublelift should be there for some point, but if they're going role by role, it won't be for a while, right? It'll have to be a while away. You know what would actually be a genuinely good player to put into top lane, by the way? Soaz. Soaz would genuinely be a good player to put into top lane. Like, that guy was legendary for so long. Or maybe, I mean, for support, I would put... did you mention Soaz? Cool. Yeah, there were a lot of messages happening, so I'm sorry I missed that. But, Am I the guy that comments and presents at the same time? I do. Yes, I do cast and I do comment at the same time. I guess. Yes, maybe. Yeah, we do casting, but we cast them more like an official broadcast, but we do pay attention to chat. So we currently have 3 chats open. So there's Twitch chat, which is the one which I primarily pay attention to because it's the most active. But there are 2 YouTube streams we're open on as well. So there's my own personal YouTube, but it's being restreamed over towards Onivia because it's better viewers. And it's a very big big audience. Okay. At some point, I need to see if I can book a front page slot, you know, because I can do that as a partner. I think Release Aphelios should get into the Hall of Fame. There were a couple of Release champions which were very broken. Aphelios was one of them. Release Zeri, though. Like, that champion was so busted. Like, it was a pentakill, like, had the most pentakills per game of, like, any champion ever, I think. Champion was not okay. Smolder was up there too. Although Smolder was powerful for a less amount of time, Zeri was powerful for like 2 years. And yeah. Kai'Sa on release too. Yeah, Kai'Sa release was very strong for sure. For sure. So Weibo go back to blue side now. Season 3 cast in the Hall of Fame, but thing is that he was still broken like Season 4 and Season 5 really as well. That champion was so busted actually. Back when even when they tried to nerf like his AP build, he went towards Iceborne Gauntlet and was still really obnoxious. I can't believe that Weibo lost with that draft. I can't believe they lost with that draft. That's just so Weibo. Okay, turn the camera off and we'll hopefully get towards the stage soon. You started with OG Aatrox? Damn, that was a cool champion. I love the aesthetics of original Aatrox. And he was actually pretty good just before he got reworked. Season 7 Worlds he was really strong. Release Samira was also kind of insane. Okay, folks, I need to get myself another drink. Then we'll be back to game 4.
Fabulous. All yours if you need a bit of a break.
Oh.
I returned. Samira. Yeah, Samira's a fun chip. But yes, I've seen a lot of people, similar with Neela, like, at the top level, I've seen so many people go in, there's only one way that those champions play, and that is all in. And if that ever goes wrong, it's very challenging. Well, getting ready for game number 4. Very cute Anyone's Legend logo. All them legends in IG, I wish they performed better. They are, you can see where the ceiling lurks on that. And it is very hard. Very hard. However, ain't no easy feat. To draft we go, folks. I'll come and say hello briefly as we get ourselves into game number 4. Weibo back on blue side. Again, it's another 100% blue side win rate game. Gala, the Legend of Despair. There's always that one. He's always been good as Gala. I'll give him that. They're trying very hard this week. That IG has only lost to BLG over the past month. Well, that's very fair. I think BLG are right back into the swing of things. They're not perfect yet, but it feels like On once again is looking a lot more lethal, more forward-footed, and I think that's really helped them. I think Beitwan and Knight have synergized really well, and that kind of trio has been really good for setting everyone else up to look so much better. It's not always perfect. They overplay the mid lane a lot. Dubhouse, also nice to see you in here. I just wish AL would win Worlds because of Panda skins. For a first-time chat, Dubhouse, and welcome, by the way, to the channel. That is the correct kind of statement I like to hear. And is anyone's legend with the Panda skins? Very valid reason to support anyone's legend. Samurai Panda skins? Hell yes. But we are actually into draft. I probably ought to talk about that bit of the thing. Renekton first pick for Weibo Gaming. The response may well be the Lucian. It's kind of got to that point in the draft where bot lanes and dominant options begin to get a little bit thinner on the ground. You can lock the Lucian and then debate whether a Nami or a Millie are a bit better once you see a few more things.
So yeah, what's even available on bot lane? 'Cause you don't have Jhin Varus, you don't have Ezreal, you don't have Kalista. So a lot of your big ones. Misfortune would be the one which would be more lane dominant at this point. You're not going to get contested on the enchanters, I don't think, right here. Unless Light wants to go towards something like Zeri. That could be something that could overlap a little bit.
Fair shout on the Kai'Sa and the Nautilus being open if they want that lane as well. Good shout on that one, Inferno. I mean,
that's true, yeah.
Could look at that Ornn early here for Flandre as well. It's an okay matchup into Breathe. Tien Zyra is good. No, it's been a little while since we've really seen it, though.
If AP junglers get locked in, something different has changed, because we don't see AP junglers
really
right now. Well, no, we just don't.
I mean, we see Lilia. That's kind of it.
And even then, that's very, very rarely. AP junglers are not a thing right now unless you have Yone available. And if you want to go towards that, things change a little bit. It is very strange to see them being locked in, which is why it's important to note that before they are. Lilia only really gets locked in when you do have like good AD solo lanes to go with them. The Renekton Lilia is powerful, the Yone is as well. They choose not to lock that though and go to the Alistar instead.
So, of course, we did see the attempt from Shadow on the Diana the other week as well, which was a valiant effort from him, but it does feel, as Alex was saying, junglers really have kind of become more of a rarity. They once were. Braum locked in here for AL, can block the Lilia sleep particles, and actually with the Ornn as well, you've now got a really good front line to potentially set up that Lucian for a lot of success. He does proc the Braum passive quite well, especially since the changes to his passive means he's not as neutered without an enchanter.
Alistar really hates playing into Braum as well. Just really hates it. You now have on Braum to be disengaged. Renekton is going to hate their existence. I think AL have a much better draft than they had last time, and of course they won with the draft last time, but I don't know, maybe just winning drafts.
Blue side, Alex.
Maybe just blue side just turns champions at like 2 times the strength that they normally are. Weibo will want to make sure that they ban away the long-ranged damage champions for Shanks now.
That'll definitely be a way to do it, as I sort of mumbled is the one I'm looking for. Blew under my head by one Eiffel 95. Yone is indeed banned. I'm somewhat surprised that wasn't locked in early, but then again, then you start to lose some of those engage options. And Ura, I think at his best, has largely been an engage support player. Had a fantastic last series, as we noted. Neferi banned away from Tarzan. I think it would have been a good look for him. Briar is a fun hover. Diana is a fun hover.
No. Like, everyone has been hovering Briar for the last couple of days, and I'm not exactly sure why. It must be a community meme or something. So AL, they have some engage already. They haven't picked their mid jungle just yet. Oriana's down, so they wouldn't have Nocturne Oriana. Not exactly sure why that would be the pick of all things.
Some dive to follow up with the Ornn ult at the very least, so you have got some ways to follow the Nocturne, it's just not with the Ori.
But the problem is, like, you say follow up the Ornn ult with dive. Ornn is not diving with that. He's still back. Like, then the Nocturne is just there alone in the enemy team.
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit like when you see Vi plus artillery piece, if you see what I mean. You kind of support it by just having people who can jump on
but again,
you're
that's,
jumping on.
even then, that's a little bit different because it's not the instant CC for Nocturne to do that. Light goes towards the Kai'Sa, likely. Can go towards... Yeah, the Galio really actually quite good here. I like that now, because now what happens is what you were saying about, oh, well, you get to follow up the Ornn with the dive from the Nocturne. Nocturne is alone. Galio goes into the enemy team, and he is still alone.
A hover of a Kassadin here.
Ahri has to be the pick here, I think. If you have to, you need to follow up Nocturne with something. The Ahri's pretty good into the Galio itself. The Kassadin going melee range into that comp, I think that he would really hate that. Shanks goes towards Ahri. And AL, I think they went from having a very good draft to a much more contested one, because now the Nocturne can get countered by Galio, Alistar, and Necton locking you up in melee range.
Yeah.
I do think the Lucian Braum is nice. I think that the Ornn and the Braum is very good defensively. Weibo may struggle to go offensively into the enemy team, but I think Weibo actually come out with, you know, a winning top lane, contested mid lane. Galio's okay versus the Ahri, and a Kai'Sa lane which you can survive if not win. You're not going to win that. I think Weibo walk away with something okay here. This one's a more even draft.
Exactly how well the paranoias are used here as well, because if you can do it before things like teleports and Galio ults come on through, maybe you get a window to pull your trigger before the response comes on through. You have seen in the past, but I agree, it's going to be an interesting one to track. Tarzan, good enough to pull it off, I think, but it will be certainly a question we need to keep our eyes on as the level 6s roll on through.
So, going into fourth game of the series, match points for anyone's legend up 2-1. Weibo just knocked JDG down to the lower bracket. We were wondering whether they could do the same to anyone's legend, despite being the lower seed, the underdogs well and truly. But they have been outclassed a little bit by anyone's legend in their losses.
On a track, last game was an odd one, I think, draft-wise. Yeah, anyone's legend won regardless. Do their very best to be obnoxious here as well in this game, because I think their mid-game spike is going to be very, very potent. The Ornn ult, Ahri and Nocturne flying on forwards. If you don't get a good Galio response pattern, could be pretty difficult to keep certain members alive. AL though, got their own tools to make it a bit trickier. Who on that Galio, I think it's a champion that he has made a name for himself on over the years. His ability to play those globals has always been pretty potent. On to the rift we go. Let's let the gyos ring out for a second. Early invade here from anyone's legend. I think when you've got things like the Braum, it can be pretty nasty to try and face check that one. So understandably, Weibo playing relatively defensive here. You can see Breathe is wandering in to put a ward down on the other side. At least we'll get some response vision put down.
Lucian with something like an E start as well makes it very easy to follow up on something like a Braum Q. For the passive stun, Lucian Braum very strong early lane for the level 1 at least. Weibo do get some vision into the other side of the jungle though.
Are we thinking of cross-mapping this? I'm watching Tarzan come back over here, and Tien and Breathe are waiting. This gets interesting suddenly.
It does, because, well, I mean, Ornn is not awful at level 1. Nocturne's very good at it, but you don't want to be walking into this. Flandre found out, Q hits him, not going to be that much more than it. Tien not going for the Raptor steal, which we often see from the Lilia, instead sticking on the red buff, and that means that Flandre is going to walk over and try and force him off it, and he does. Tien not getting the most, in fact, doesn't get anything from that Tam. Breathe gets a small Raptor, and Tien fails on the invade.
The smite, but it is secured. And does he want to start up the red buff or the Krugs? You can choose to do both, and I think the idea is go to the Krugs, be a bit safer, and not be at risk here.
Yeah, look, you've already seen the enemy jungler go out of your jungle. You are safe, and it's level 2 to level 1. It doesn't actually matter what Tarzan starts now because you're safe. You're that level ahead. Tien is behind. I'm much more interested in what Tien does now because he's a camp behind. He failed the invade. He's going to be slowed down on this clear, and now Tarzan could get a little bit further ahead.
The other thing is here, with you being so far ahead, there's a potential here where Tarzan can contest over Scuttle Crabs a lot more freely as well. And yes, Lilia will eventually hit a point where she farms like a beast, but early on, Nocturne in skirmishes, in 1v1s, actually surprisingly scary with things like the lethal tempo. He is a better duelist than people often give him credit for.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter if it's lethal tempo, press the attack, or conqueror. Basically, the whole thing is, if you go into a Nocturne and he spell shields you, you'd lose. Nocturne is not the kind of person like a Lee Sin who can like kill you like aggressively and like throw a Q at you and chase you down, because Nocturne doesn't have chase potential before level 6. But if you walk into him, one of the best early duelists in the game.
Tien doing his best to clear out as fast as he can, but Tarzan already on Gromp is way ahead here. You've got to feel that fighting over things like the Skull Crabs could be tough, and a Nocturne that is getting accelerated in the camp lead could be very problematic in terms of getting to level 6 first.
So one thing which is quite interesting there is that we saw that Xiaohu just moved from mid lane down to check the buff on this side of the map, because he didn't know whether Nocturne had gone this way and then gone across the river for something like a steal. Turns out he hadn't done, but he had to check just because they didn't have the information to check them after the first play of the game. He's now going to be bot side. He will be spotted. Tarzan going for a full clear.
Slightly dire stats there that we saw up on screen there for anyone's legend of their champs. Hope 0 and 2 on the Lucian minute, and Shanks 0 and 1 on the Ahri. A few moments there you're going, not always been their most successful options here as players. One or two people in chat going, no, not the Lucian for hope. And it's like, maybe some of those recent game losses haunting the anyone's legends fans.
Could see. I don't think Tarzan's going to contest the topside scuttle. There's too many. Xiaohu's pushed in. The Renekton's pushing in. He will go towards. I mean, Xiaohu will try and steal some of these. I don't think Tien's going to get that much value out of it, though.
Unspeakable horror coming on down. Tarzan in the spot above. Gets a bit of healing back. Has that smote away. But now Shanks has come on over. It's DP back in. Got a lot more damage to work with. There's the charm. Xiaohu loses a half of the HP. Duckspringer comes across. Bowling ball wide. And actually look to potentially fight this a bit more here as Xiaohu forced to retreat on an awkward path, eating auto after auto after auto. The Shield of Durand comes on out, prevents too much easier follow-up. Scuttlecrab is up on the other side as Breathe is starting that up for the jungler.
So there's a big grab to steal, which gets something for Tien. Tarzan was maybe looking for a double scuttle, can't quite do so. Xiaohu trades his HP and some of his lane presence for Tien.
Be able to get back to lane here, and I'm okay. But we didn't have the teleport importantly here, so this wave may well be being trimmed a little bit here. Being very slow to push this is Shanks, clearly wanting to buy some time on the crash.
Question in chat. Hang on a second. Not going to need that much here.
Present, not delivered.
So there's a question about, is IG eliminated? No, they're in the lower bracket. The loser of this series will also drop down to the lower bracket, but a round beyond them. I think IG plays up against FPS, I believe, in the lower bracket first round. And then the winner of that will play against the winner of WWE versus JDG.
Be an interesting one as well. I feel like JDG should be beating that one pretty handily, but that last series from JDG, there were a few
I mean, look, whoa. When you've tried to compare it to WE, you got demolished in their own way.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I know.
Nah,
I'm trying to build some hype here, Alex.
Look,
my boy Monkey.
Sure, but there's also like, let's. So, recalls coming through from anyone's legend. Kyle just making sure the wave's not getting pushed in too hard. The bot lane's not gone badly for Light and Airham, actually. It's gone completely fine. The Alistar into the Braum doesn't really have options to go aggressively. You just have to headbutt away. Can't really do that much after that point. I'll try to hold the wave. Couldn't quite do so.
We'll reset now. It's a bit of the wave loss. And actually, in the end, that'll be Light with the early CS lead into the Lucian, which wasn't actually what I was expecting here, all things said and done. Of course, did get the Coalfields back, so Lucian at least on a solid reset. TP towards the bot side here, interestingly. From Kyle, who's gone for the Spellbook, by the way, on the Braum.
Been more recent thing from hang on a second, that's gonna be a passive coming up. This is why the Alistar hates playing into the Braum. Not much counterplay against that.
He come in, gets that passive proc. There's no healing potions or anything in the inventory of Ura either. That's just going to stick around. Does have the heal as a summon. It's got mid lane, shielded around. Tien coming on up. Will Shanks be forced to... Oh, no, he will not. Just gets to walk away. Raptors being a consideration for a steal here. Tarzan may be forced to smite. Does so, was afraid of Tien coming on over with that bowling ball.
Like, these plays in mid lane, the kill threat's not there, really. It's annoyance. You get some of the HP off, and what it's mainly doing is just allowing you to either help or stop the other laner from helping their jungle. Actually, most of this early game has been about jungle advantage. If you look at the way that everyone's been pathing around Tarzan and Tien, early pathing and everything. Now, Tien is even with Tarzan, but he tried to get ahead and didn't quite manage to do so. Dragon now started up, and it was Legend maybe contesting.
Worth noting, Tien has 6. Tarzan does not. Lilting Lullaby available could be really problematic if this bowling ball hits someone valuable. Splashes on the Dragon, but no one else. Dragon likely going to Tarzan. This might be the level 6 off that kill as well. Now looks to turn it around. In comes the Galio's Hero's entrance. Slow and stun onto Kyle, who's not quite down. The Lilting Lullaby now coming on through. Tries to find angles. Hope dashes on forwards, cleanses away along with the flash. Shanks in danger, trying to dance around the back end with the Spirit Rush. Light also looking for an angle. The blooming blows begin to fly. Shanks still needs to potentially pull that last ult trigger. Summoner's blown in spades by anyone's Legend, but no one dies.
Yeah, no one dies, but the Dragon does. So AL walk away with the Dragon. Falling Ball will stop a recall from Hope. It's a little annoying for him. Of course, Hope used both of his summoners there. Weibo. This will allow them to get quite far ahead of the Lucian lane, actually. Hope was forced back a little bit before. Light's had better access to farm, and while I think that Light has had a bad series so far, getting a platform like a 15 CS lead onto a Lucian Braum, that's a good start, because that Kai'Sa, being able to rearrange the direction of the fight, can be very powerful later on into the stuff like the Braum and the Orm, which typically like to fight down the front and center.
Very much, especially now with all of the summoners pop. Yes, Kyle's got the spellbook, so that's always a little bit of a misnomer there in that sense. These grubs likely to be taken by Tien as a result, but Kyle has now walked on over. Maybe looking to contest this himself, throws out the Winter's Bite. Breathe also around, but side against it, I think. Wave's not in a great enough position. They've rotated their bot lane to mid. I'll leave that as the lost cause. Tien secures those grubs for his squad.
Andre, within 10 CS of the Renekton. Top lanes is not really getting involved in much so far. So often is their lot in life, really. Xiaohu been quite interactive, actually, with the Ahri lane. He's within, again, 10 CS there. One of the things which, you know, Ahri can bully out a Galio lane. In fact, there was a point in time where Ahri would go Airy, the rune, into the Galio and just continually gun them down with procs of that. There was also a meta where you could go first strike and really bully out the melee matchup. In fact, Xiaohu was very good at that matchup around Worlds 2023. You'd go towards the mythic item Leandries, and it was a really good way to do that. Ahri nowadays, pretty strong on the whole, pretty hard to punish. Doesn't necessarily have the way to bully out the Galio the way that she used to at earlier matches.
Really, Tarzan doing his best to match the Lilia and farm. Doing a fine job of that so far. Not really seen a proactive paranoia yet. The first one we saw was off the Dragon Smite to get the level up, and then that fight that got pretty pricey in terms of wave control and summoners, even if no one died. In fact, we have had no deaths yet. It's 0-0 with 10 minutes or so on the clock. So, a bit of a slow game for the LPL in some ways, even if we have seen some congestion around things like Raptors.
So, yeah, it's like slow in terms of the actual kills. But we did have a pretty good fight around the Dragon, even if no one died. And we've had, you know, bits and pieces of jungle contests, as you were saying there too. So it's not been like peak Jin Air, nothing happens for forever until we hit like 3 items.
Is anything ever going to be that again?
No, by the way, folks, if you're looking for some YouTube watching, there's a documentary on Jin Air as an organization by GBay99.
Oh, amazing.
It's fantastic. It's a couple of hours long. It's really, really good. Nocturne comes through here. Might be our action.
And comes the culling. Glacier Fissure also popped. Where is the Nocturne? Downtown they come. Winter's Bite comes on through as they're trying to get some of an angle. Galio will bring in the hero's entrance. As Alistair presses ults in general blown pretty heavily there. Kyle puts up the door. Shanks still got a charge left on the ult, but that's about it. 4 ults burned from anyone's Legend, and they get no one.
Don't really know what they're doing going on to the Alistair of all people there. Seemed a bit flimsy. They have the culling, which didn't do that much. You know, as Legends, as you rightfully say, not really doing that much all in all there. Flandre, looks like he tanked a culling, Dominus from Breathe, who tried to push in heavily there. Did so. Flandre didn't have the teleport. I guess he wanted to take a harder trade just so Breathe couldn't teleport down in case things got a little bit more spooky. Yeah, so he wanted to make sure that there was no teleport coming through because he didn't have vision in that brush. Just wanted to make sure that there was no kind of clutch Renekton teleport coming in from the other side of the map.
I think that makes some sense. The Ornn quite happy to just stall out on this side. The Renekton being in that fight could have gotten a bit ugly. Doesn't really lead to all that much in the grand scheme of things, but the ults being down, a bit problematic, but they will largely all be up in time for this Dragon, and that would be second for anyone's Legend.
I'm just realizing again, look, it is, I know it's slight, it's an advantage.
Yes! Spellbook.
The dubstep ignite.
Wow.
Weibo have a slight advantage, and it is on blue side. we could go to a game 5 for another 1v1 side select 1v1, which could be so important in a series here at the LPL. Are Weibo really going to give us a game like that last time? Be like, wow, massive draft advantage. Of course they lose. Would they then bounce back with a game 4-5 victory? Again, it's in the cards. It's written in the stars, apparently.
Because I won on blue side. Dragon spawning in 2 seconds. Come with some more lyrics as we go.
I'm not going to do that on the fly. I'd have to
Tell
write
me
them down.
why.
And that's what I'm not going to do.
Yeah, come on.
In fact, I'm not going to tell you the lyrics because, Sam, Dragon is alive and that's important.
Oh, I'm giggling to myself. It's a great time. Right, Dragon is up. Anyone's Legend would like this, if possible. They don't have to go for it, but ult's now largely up and available. No TP on Flandre. We could look to roam up from that bot side river. Shanks doesn't have his either. We really going to give this one just up? Doesn't seem like Legend right in position as yet. Galio also doesn't have ult or teleport right yet, worth noting.
So a lot of it will be around that mid lane tug of war. Remember, both these teams have more of a... I'm going to say interesting, and that is sometimes a polite way to say bad or what the hell are they doing. Macro teams. Anyone's Legend tend to be the better side of that, but Weibo can give some smoke and mirrors to them. Choosing to give up Dragon or Anyone's Legend, they had that first one. Choosing to stay and farm instead, get some advantage towards Tarzan, who can just keep farming up some lane, some camps, and Shanks staying in the side lane.
Dragon secured by Weibo Gaming. We've shoved in mid lane by Light, having a much better game this time around. Up in cold, farming well, happily at the first item. Problematic, because Anyone's Legend have just about hit their own 1-item spikes, and at that point you begin to start asking them to make some more proactive moves of their own. Game is even enough right now, but I think for their sake they'll want to make things a bit more explosive in their favour over the next 10 minutes or so. I think it gets trickier in extended fights.
1 item's being hit across the board. This is where, you know, the Renekton starts to come into their own. Lilia has the burn now. On the other side, though, Malignance and Stridebreaker, good for the mid-jungle of Anyone's Legend. They pulled the trigger pretty easily earlier, actually, quite quickly, in terms of just saying, let's just throw ults at people. Didn't get much for it, but they were willing to do so. It's quite hard to pull Nocturne out and juggle people when you're into an Alistar, though, I've got to say.
Yeah. Gotta be very wary of your timing tracks. If you miss Time of Paranoia and then the Galio and the Alistar turn on you, it's a bit tricky. But you can also potentially deny some of those teleport and Galio if you time it right as well.
And kind of revisiting a point which you made in Champion Select when you talk about, well, why was the Nocturne being locked in? It's always follow up the Ornn ult. And my counterpoint is, well, you're alone physically, even if the Ornn ult is engaged. That is one of the reasons why I think Anyone's Legend are umming and ahhing a little bit, and they're not pulling the trigger quite so much. Because we saw in that last play, right? You know, Nocturne flies into the play, but actually it's onto Alistar, who doesn't care, pops the ultimate, knocks you up, and then you can't follow up the play in the way that you'd like to as the Nocturne.
Worth noting as well, Herald has just spawned. That would be a mark towards the objectives in the feats of strength for Weibo. Would earn them that mark. We've still got no kills, by the way, 15 minutes deep.
Yeah.
And I think as far as Legend go, that's a problem. You're running the Lucian, you're running the Ahri with the Dark Seal, the Nocturne. He wants to get value out of these early Paranoias. That hasn't happened yet. Raises an eyebrow for me. If it really is, you just win on blue side, and the Backstreet Boys will have to be back, alright. Blue side's back, alright.
When did it ever go? Look, blue side has been... The thing is, blue side has always been strong in pro play. I'm not exactly sure the reasons. It does jump forwards, gets popped with the culling. Doesn't blow his ultimate just yet. Could get some of that honey fruit to heal up a little bit. That's helpful. Herald now spawning. Flandre could walk up. No, he's teleporting instead into mid lane. Hey, they want to contest.
Shanks on a flank angle as well. Can look to Spirit Rush in. Attacked again by the Winter Spite. They really want to chunk this Alistar out if they can. 4,000 HP on the Herald. A little late to contest here. In comes the Paranoia. On ult as well. That'll be the Herald taken though by TM. It's a good knock-up on the other side. Into the backline goes the Dominusing Breeze, who needs to run away. Knocked up. In comes the Hero's Entrance. It's too little too late. But all the hope being jumped out by the Killer Instinct. Needs to back away. Shoulder to Durand. Gets value. TN continue Blooming Blow. Absolutely everyone down. Flash over the wall from Shanks. Fail flash on the other side though. Carl standing on forward, trying to buy some time. Tarzan in the backline with the unspeakable horror. Gets another down. It's a triple kill to Light nonetheless. Charm lands onto the Lilia. And that, for me, is a win for Weibo Gaming. Flash on force for the Blooming Blows. The burn comes on down and Shanks is ashes.
4 kills to the side of Weibo. Give up 3 of their own, but Weibo still get the Herald as well, and the blue side team comes out with an advantage. Oh boy, it's it does seem like this side just activates the hands and keyboards of the team. They'll go towards the first turret in top lane as well, which will get them the feats of strength. Kills were over towards anyone's legend, so they did need that first turret to seal that out. And Weibo walk away with the first big confrontation win of the game. So Breathe goes in towards the back line. I think he tries to stop Flandre from reactivating the ult, can't quite manage to do so. Gets a 4-person Call the Meek, which gives enough HP to force Hope to flash forwards. Because Hope flashes forwards, he then dies. So Breathe, despite dying, does actually get value out of the kind of the melee range Renekton power that you do get. Things get messy after this point. You have champions like the Lilia stacking up the Q, you have the Tarzan Nocturne getting into melee range too. The Lilia comes out ahead of this one, but as a team, Weibo slimly come out with the advantage plus the objective too.
Nice Q flash into the Swell Seed slow, and Tien comes away with a lot of value there himself. They win on blue side, Alex. We've got a new line for the song.
Yes.
Tell me why I never seem to draft on red or win a draft on red.
No, it's the wrong amount of syllables, Sam.
Win a draft on red.
It's the wrong amount of syllables.
Okay, what it should be then?
What, Sam?
Sam, workshop this with me.
I'm here to criticize you, Sam.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm the person you have to convince that you're allowed to put this onto the.
I never win
charts.
a draft on red. I never win a draft on
No.
red.
But
it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be close enough.
Sam, you can do better. I know you can do better.
You think? I quite like
Sam,
that.
I believe in you, Sam. You can do better than that.
Okay. Well, we've got Dragon coming up. You know, maybe that's an important one.
That is quite important too. Hang on a second. Tien does get the ult. The shield's down. Could choose to pull it.
Ooh, not great culling.
But Hope's struggling on the Lucian hit. He's not had the best fight so far. Down at very low HP. That should be a contest over now, really.
Kyle picks up the honey fruit. That's unfortunate. They're just saying, yeah, well, Hope's going to have to reset anyway. Herald now coming on through.
And they've already got themselves a feat of strength. Do Weibo Gaming having picked up the objectives and the turret.
I think it is going to be another blue side win.
Sometimes it feels a little bad saying that at 19 minutes. This could still be a very close game. AL do have very good engage with the Ornn ults and the ability to kind of roll through some very powerful fights. They might go for the contest here. Flandre within ult range soon.
Lucian back at 2/3 HP, so should be a bit better able to play this one out. And comes the Ornn ult. Forge God comes on through, Dragon secure, but they're paranoid now coming on through. Good knock up at the back end of this. Turnaround from Ura, trying to buy some space. Bellow's breath comes on down. Hope ended up going through the winds of war though, lost half its HP. Shanks looking for an angle, can be lilting Lullaby. The projectile isn't properly blocked. Shanks stays alive mostly. Dustbringer comes on down. No one dies. Anyone's legend can't find anyone valuable.
No, and it's going to be Dragon over to the side of Weibo. That was a good Ornn ult. Got through 3 people. 3-person Ornn ultimate typically tends to win you fights. Later into the game, we'll see the Ornn ultimates coming, the Ornn items coming through too. More value from that. Anyone's legend don't get the Dragon. They'll teleport to protect bot lane, and they'll take mid lane turret too. It's a good win for them.
High LTPing, of course, with the spellbook, so not necessarily who they were expecting. Tier 1 mid was secured. That's nice. Actually turning on to the Atakan here. Kyle's around, but no one else is. Shanks has TP, about to reset. Will need to join very fast. I'm assuming he has a second item completion on that reset. Keep your eyes on that Ahri inventory. Well, here we go again.
Anyone's legend don't have ultimates. Tarzan forces the flash out of Shahu, but he has ult anyway. I mean, wait, they still have ults. They can definitely fight this, but they are getting shredded by Atakan.
Whoever comes beyond is in danger himself, will begin to charge away, has got the Bella's breath, potentially immune, some CC, and does a good job. Down at 2000 HP is the Atakan, still burning. Shahu now coming across, throws out some Winds of War. And the Atakan is secured instead by anyone's legend. Flandre charges away. Charm onto the Lilia, into the Culling forces a retreat. Now can enter the triangle as they get the resets on the ult available. Up and down, flash on forward for the Winter's Bite, nearly getting the concussive blows all the way stacked. Can't quite get onto Shahu, just punches away, but the Ornn ult back up and available. Choo-choo comes the train. As Ura in danger, in comes the hero's entrance. It means nothing. And Shahu finds no respite for his bot lane.
Anyone's legend, despite losing all of their ultimates in the Dragon fight, find a way to win the Atakan. Breathe goes forward to the Dominus.
Ooh, Dominus on top and gets the Cold. Maybe will die in trade. That's just the brawn for your Renekton. Not the best angle. Hope slowed down. Needs to be a bit wary, getting some double taps down. This is the back end. Good Tarzan. He's very bloody deep. The cleanse comes on down. I apologize. Now in a 3v3 this well, so he just goes wide, but the health spell's not looking fantastic. Flash from forward from Light. Can't quite get it with the Acathian Rain. Begin to turn it around to Shanks. Still has the flash, still has a charm. I think that will be the end of the play. Atakan secured by anyone's legend. Turret on the bot side in danger.
There's an ult from Light. He can kill him. He can kill.
Well buffered through again by Shahu. Justice punches away.
Light threatening a dive onto Shanks. Gets Shanks with a teleport. And yeah, Light is 4-1. 2 items now.
Very, very scary. Got to be a close run thing. It's Weibo Gaming, though. Despite losing the Atacon, are the ones with the gold lead, are the ones with the better map position in terms of objectives and stuff as well. So look at the replay, because it was a knife fight.
Big thing about this, no ultimates for anyone's legend in this fight at the start of it. The fact that they managed to get this Atacon and force Weibo off of this is kind of huge. Smite comes through from Tarzan, and then, Weibo think, oh, bloody hell, we've lost the Atacon, we should really go for a fight after this. They don't find that much. And of course, they don't have all of their ultimates either, like the Lilting and Lullaby, which is one of their bigger engaged tools. Things get very, very messy after this because the Call of Forge God comes back up after previously being used in the Dragon fight. And it is just about these small openings. One skill shot here, one missed position there, which opens up extra kills. Overall, I guess Weibo come out ahead on this phase of the fight, but AL still get the Atacon before this. Mixed bag.
Tarzan actually gets the Paradigm, tries to jump off the light. It's just too deep. No one can follow him. Light gets the cleanse. You do get the cleanse, at least, I guess, off the Kai'Sa, but clearly felt everyone's going to die. Light flashing for that and doesn't get anywhere near the kill, so ends up burning an additional summoner. A bit awkward from him for all that he's very strong. Kai'Sa will not have the flash or the cleanse up in this next Dragon fight, and that would be for Soul Point. Little bit of a problematic point, considering how important this Kai'Sa has been to the team fights for Weibo.
Getting later into the game, the more value the Ornn gets with items to the rest of the team. Shanks at a decent 2-item spike. For those of you that are not aware of current itemization patches and stuff, 2511 Horizon Focus gives you 115 AP, 25 ability items, 2,800 gold. It is ridiculously efficient. So this 2-item is very, very good. Compared to what it could be. Of course, on the other side, Riftmaker, Rod of Ages, very powerful point for Galio. Xiaohu's been good on the Galio in the last 2 series, actually. I think in general, I think Xiaohu's been playing very well in playoffs so far. But it's been good to see the glow up for him. I think that he had some rough patches in Group Ascend. Both him and Breathe had. I mean, let's be honest, most of the team did.
Yeah.
Support, not
the support revolving door, yeah.
Yeah, the revolving door, particularly with Hung, just being so poor towards the start of Group Ascend. It has been, on the whole, very good for Weibo, but this series, less good than his last one. So we'll have to see him dig deep if it goes beyond that point. Dragon in 20 seconds, AL. Like to stop a soul point being achieved.
I've got a singular control ward in the pit, which is buying them a little bit of space. Renekton shoving topside does have the teleport. Sterek's completed for him. Largely, we've got 2 items across the board here. An even enough state of affairs. The Call of the Forge God is summoned, and unfortunately for them, it's not a prank call. Charge comes on forward, damage onto the front line. They're all looking so desperately low. Era tries to make his will unbreakable, but his spirit, it just can't stand in the face of all the charms. Hope begins to cycle through a few more of those passive autos. Everyone deserves a second shot, and a third, and a fourth. And anyone's legend get 2.
The Braum Ornn defensive combination was too much for Weibo to get through. Anyone's legend get themselves the first real clean fight in the last few minutes, and they will stop the Dragon stacking. 2 for 2 in terms of Dragons, even in terms of gold, basically. And the kills basically aren't apart either. We are in a much more even game than we were beforehand. We're talking about, blue side, destined to win. Not as simple as that now.
Gold. Next to even. Dragons, even enough. There is a slight advantage in terms of the feat of strength, but that will be managed very happily by the ornaments coming on through. Stride Breakers upgraded. Essence Reavers upgraded. There are important breakpoints. Smite there to secure the Scuttle Crab for anyone's legend. Shank's going to claim a second turret here for anyone's legend. We've only got the one so far. It's an important one, namely the mid lane one. They have got a lot of standing gold to claim here if they can just buy a little time on a side lane. Can't get that turret. Let's have a look at the replay.
So this is the play which, of course, led in towards Dragon. Weibo trying to stop anyone's legend from quickly going in towards this. Light trying not to stay in the clump because the engage is coming through, but, let's be honest, you don't want to fight in a single corridor versus Ornn Brawl. The ultimate comes down from both of them. Yeah. And Breathe tries to open up that second angle. It's just too late. If he comes in 5 seconds earlier, maybe it's more playable and you can delay some of the damage coming in from Hope or Shanks or something like that. But Breathe's a little too late, and Weibo had already bought into that very tight corridor.
Charm as well, point blank, no way to flash out of that one from Tien. Goes down, important kill there. Actually, this Lilia has had a few moments in some of these fights where you got quite wary of how that was being played out. We'll note, third item's just been completed by both AD carries. 1,000 gold lead to Light, who is the richest man in the game, followed shortly by Hope and Shanks, who are not exactly in a bad position themselves, especially with things like ornaments changing the gold value somewhat for people like Hope in particular.
Gold! Interested to see that Shanks is going towards the Leandries now in the build, actually. Typically, if you're going to go towards the Leandries, you go second item. on the Ahri build, and Malignancy and Leandry is a pretty nice point, but 1,000 gold ahead, deciding that's the play. I don't really like half-housing the build here.
What should be Bloodletter's Curse instead, just to really wind you up?
You mean both of them are trying to do the same thing, kind of giving you burn damage and some value over time with a longer team fight. I mean, both of them run the same issue. You're still halfway housing your build, which is always the problem with Ahri. Ahri doesn't have the excess damage and stats to do that. Now, I would prefer to see Void Staff if you want to be going through some more tanky members. There are 4 Merc Treads on the other team that would be quite valuable. But on the other side, you could have also gone towards something like a Death Cap. Xiaohu on a very long flank angle does have flash. Let's see what you do with it.
I think that's going to be a little bit too late. Tarzan will pop the Paranoia, buys him down. Xiaohu flashes on in. Kyle stays alive. In comes the call of the Forge God. Breathe. Chunking out as well as Xiaohu's desperately low. Just punches away. Tarzan now looking to threaten the back end of it as well. Shanks looking for an angle. Gets the unspeakable horror onto Uru. Just about gets away to safety. Swellseed lands onto Shanks. Still has got some ability to run away. Does so. Lilting Lullaby proc. Kyle throws up the door. Even with a little bow tied around it, wrong time of year, but I'll give you the pass this time around. We'll need to reset to be able to get out to safety. Baron up and available.
2 minutes until Dragon Baron, the only thing up on the table is rightfully sad. A lot of ultimates still available for Weibo, and all of them used from Anyone's Legend. A similar situation to what happened around the Atakan earlier. Last time Anyone's Legend still managed to get the Atakan. Can they manage to do anything without their ultimates here? It's a hard ask.
Their best. There's a fair number of summoners burned. In they go. Charm lands and actually speeds his way into the backline. A bit problematic. Xiaohu did not want to have to phase rush into that with the charm active and loses most of his HP again.
Still an ultimate from Airhead, still the Dominus. Anyone's Legend give a good shot back to them though. Says quite a lot that Weibo can't engage down the front of this team fight, even with the ultimates down. That's a big blueprint for how Weibo lose team fights. If you go down the center of the fight into the tank disengaged front line, you lose. You need to find some way onto the back lane, you need to find some way around the Braum shield, around the Ornn, and maybe things will look better for you. However, while all that's happened, Anyone's Legend is still buying their way to more Ornn items. They're still buying up towards bigger scaling, which does come through from that big tank top laner. Weibo, you don't want this to go too much later than it already has.
You don't. Keep our eyes on it. No Infinity Edge or anything yet for Hope, but has gone for the ability with these builds to just get through as many rotations as you can. It's less about the upfront, say, Culling Burst, but how many times can I get my double taps off?
Choosing not to go towards, yeah, I guess he is choosing to go towards something more like the Bloodthirster next to the GA. It makes it easier to kind of cut through the tanks in the front line to be a bit more survivable, but it means that you're less good at that DPS. So Tarzan spotted out Xiaohu on the flank here. He pulled the ultimate, and that's what really kind of sells this flank. If Tarzan wasn't in that brush, this flank looks a lot better. Xiaohu's very lucky to make it out of this alive. That is 54 HP, I believe.
Hope missed a single bullet, or that would have been a kill, and that would have been very awkward. Shout out to Kyle as well to have the cleanse rating for him, keeps himself alive. Towards Dragon we go, 10 seconds on that. Let's set up around this. Winter Spike comes on through. Hope looking for a few more autos in mid lane.
So Weibo, need to find a second angle. Don't just go into the Braum and the Ornn. Make sure it's not about that front line. Find a different direction to fight the fight.
Breathe loses a third of his HP bar there. The Bellow's Breath afterwards. This Ornn actually beginning to do a fair amount of work with some of their HP scaling. Forward God now summon. Looking to find a trade onto someone valuable. TM will go golden. Breathe throws out the Dominus. Flandre though, scary front lane. Charm forces a flash. Culling and the Glacial Fissure used.
So, but it's still, again, AL bullying their way into the river. And yes, they use a lot of their ultimates, but they keep jumping Charm.
Will be forced to make his will unbreakable. His body is another question entirely. The Winter's Bite begins to stack as well. Exhaust, trying to keep him in place. They can't quite get him. Torn onto Flandre, the train conductor forced to contend with the Galio. Back towards Rambo, TP behind. That gets scary. Heroes enters Kyle in danger. Flashes out of that one. Breathe now on a flank angle, looking for someone, can't quite do it. Flandre with the 3-man knock-up charm afterwards gets onto at least one. Xiaohu now in danger. The unspeakable horror of the Nocturne. Finds other angle. The lilting lullaby is good. Warned about the turnaround. There is another charge into the wall. Gets scary indeed. Charm afterwards onto the front line, trying to back away his Breathe. Slice dice, but finds neither. Into the back line, go to the lights. Catherine Rain looks to go with more autos. He's to charge away and does so. Shanks has a flash looking for more. Has got the ult backup and available with the Malignance. Brings down Light. Still continue ult away, and they get Tien as well.
AL are just better team fighters. Weibo briefly find a way to open up a second angle, but Anyone's Legend ability to just form up behind the Braum door, behind Flandre CC and his tankiness wins them the team fight. It'll get them the Dragon, which pulls Anyone's Legend ahead ahead of the game. Weibo, I thought they had some golden opportunities in that fight, but for me, Light not finding the right timing to jump into the backline was the huge defining mistake by Weibo. This is a powerful Kai'Sa, should have been able to find a way into the backline, but couldn't quite do so. Opens up the Dragon and the Baron for anyone's legend.
Shanks does take tier 1. They one-man the Baron. They started one-manning Baron as well. Flandre now gets assist from Hope, who has culled this Baron down to 4,000 HP. Should go down in pretty short order. Tarzan coming on over. Does have smites. They should be secure. They just need to reset now before anyone comes over to contest. But they get everything on the map.
So I was really worried for anyone's legend around about now because the fight's split. Flandre's not in position and Kyle is like the only front line here. He goes down to a very low HP. So you'd think, okay, well, isn't this going to be fine? But look at that knockup from Flandre. It allows them a little bit more time to replay the fight. But then, you know, places like this, I'm surprised that Light isn't flying into the play. I know he's half HP, but when you're going to get a better opportunity, you shouldn't be auto-attacking the Ornn. You need to kill one of the carries. Chooses to go in now, but he kills the Braum. If you're going to go in for the backline assassination that late into the fight, you got to kill a carry. The Braum is not the target. Light, it's been a bad series from him.
The fight went so long as well that Shanks, all his ability haste, started the fight with ult and ended it with ult. You got 2 full ults out of the Ahri.
Look at the reaction from Tabe there as well, standing up, and jubilations from all coaching staff of anyone's legend. They might be able to end the series here. You know, they are on match point. Weibo would be put down into the lower bracket. Would be BLG versus anyone's legend, you know, upper bracket finals. That would qualify for the grand finals and send one of those teams to MSI. Light jumping forwards. Flandre caught out very far from his team.
Trying to get some value. He's a little bit deep. He's very tanky at this point. 3.5 items on the Braum. Also looking at Kyle, who's got a Knight's Vow and an upgrade on it.
And also, Light hasn't got the biggest damaging build as well.
No.
Now, it's okay for the first 3 items. You're going towards a Bloodthirster. Doesn't mean you drop some damage yourself going towards the actual DPS potential. One of the weaker things about this kind of build, actually, when you drop a bit towards the defensive stats.
And Hope, on the other hand, got an Infinity Edge now.
Yeah, he does, and he's been kept very safe by his team. AL have been better team fighters, though. Yeah. That has been the biggest difference, I think. The team fighting from Annual's Legends has been much better than Weibo's, who have been a few seconds off in some key instances on flanks. They've been mispositioning in the case of Light, I think in some cases too, who typically for me is one of the most consistent members of this Weibo team, but today has just not showcased that. I think he's had a poor showing on the Varus, on the Kai'Sa here as well. He's had a bit of a rough go of things.
I will say, I think that the Kai'Sa at least has looked like it's been more of a win condition than some of the other games where he's looked like a liability. I'm not sure that's as fair this time around, but that fight, right, you nearly have it, you don't.
Also, by the way, Don Raid saying, like, you know, us yapping for, like, about, like, blue side winning. Have you seen blue side win rate?
It's insane.
So you let me know in Onivia's chat. Yes, we do pay attention to the chat. Like, blue side win rate is insane. That's why we say about it. It's relevant. If you don't think it's relevant because blue side is now losing in this game, I mean, you feel free to say that. You're also wrong.
Yeah, blue side win rate has been, I think it's something like, it's over 80%.
It's insane. And like, especially since 2 days ago, Weibo won all of their games on blue side as did JDG. It was a 5-game blue side win rate series in the last round of playoffs between Weibo and JDG.
Pretty mental stuff. It's partly why this is an interesting one. Dragon, 145. Baron, solid from anyone, so it's not ended the game. Worth noting. You have now got a 4th item on the Kai'Sa. Good for that. Galio got himself the Zhonya's coming on in. Again, has gone for a slightly bruisery build rather than a tank build with the Boa and Riftmaker going towards the Zhonya's. So you do catch someone out. Theoretically possible to help blow someone up. You've just got the Randuin's in on Breathe, but I think the Renekton's moment of power is kind of over here. GA just done from Tarzan as well, and some of those worries then about the Nocturne going too deep get mitigated somewhat by that ability to buy yourself time for people to come and join you wherever you've gone. So feeling like a lot of very important breakpoints here for will likely be one last hurrah at this 35+ minute game.
But it's so hard to find those breakpoints against, you know... so Shanks has gone for the Medros late, by the way, so far ahead. You should get Medros earlier than this. It's not that valuable in late game. You want to use it early game, get ahead with it, and then use those extra stacks for the most important fights of the game. But all of the Ornn items are in for Ornn, which is the biggest thing for this. You have Seekers as luxury items, you have Ornn items, so many extra stats.
Do you remember how much value Ornn items give to a team overall?
It's about 1,000 gold worth of stats for each item. So it's an extra 5,000 gold ahead, and they're already 7,000 gold ahead. So call that 12,000 gold ahead all in all. It's in terms of actual stats. Of course, dragons can add some pieces in, blah, 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 and not everyone uses gold in the same way. But in terms of actual stat value, that's quite valuable. And then on the other side, they do have the feats of strength, which nullifies it a little bit, but still.
trying their best to make sure this all works out in the end. Ready to roll. 5 seconds on Ocean Dragon.
And again, Weibo, if they can find a way to get into the backline and kill a carry, that's different. Breathe losing HP like that doesn't help. Shanks staying safe on the sideline. Another great chunk on the Breathe of the second Q. That actually might be... That's fight winning in some ways. Breathe has to recall. Charm misses there. Light might find himself a 1v1. Ult forced early by Shanks. Didn't want to have the plasma put onto him. It's a big loss for him now. Doesn't have that ultimate to impact the fight.
To try and get the Dragon, and that will get some soul points. So worthy so far. Good knockup from both the Ornn and the Braum. 3 TPs in, culling onto Ura, drops him to about half. Anyone's Legend in many ways, they've done what they needed to do. They've gotten the Dragon, they just need to get back out and not lose too much on the map.
Exactly. They haven't lost anyone. They get the teleport out of Breathe. Tien, I mean, it's onto the front line. Doesn't matter that much. Xiaohu looking to round the corner here a little bit. Weibo trying to corral anyone's Legend.
Well, a bit of danger to the Paranoia now, and that's the cleanse off of Light. Knock up on 2 as Flandre searing charge into the wall. Paranoia forwards, danger onto Light. Hero's entrance buys some time, keeping himself alive. Counter flashes back on out. Kyle, though, is so damn tanky in the front line at this point. Another charge into the wall. It's a bouncy castle out here for both sides, and everyone's just getting a little bit sick. But it's anyone's Legend with pandas everywhere. You get a look at a triple kill to the Ahri.
Blue side will not be enough for Weibo in this series. They knocked JDG, the 3rd seed, down to the lower bracket in their first round of playoffs here against the 2nd seed. Perhaps it was a step too far. Anyone's Legend, by far the better team and better team fighters on the day.
Huge value from them. In they go. They've got waves in mid. They've got waves in top. They've got inhibitors exposed. They don't even care about the one in mid. They just want to get some minions towards this direct glacial fissure to buy time. 20 seconds on Light. Their work here is done, and Weibo finally lose a blue side game. Their upper bracket run is ended. Anyone's Legend a step too far. And they find themselves a convincing mid-game victory. This squad here on red side, finally.
3-1 victory. No 5 games here, no silver scrapes, and Anyone's Legend will go to face BLG in our next round of the playoffs. And the winner of that will be our first representative heading over to MSI. Anyone's Legend clearly the better team on the day. Weibo still playing better than in Group Ascend. I think that they've had a glow up coming into playoffs, but still not the complete package. They'll be knocked down to the lower bracket. They're quite far into the lower bracket, it's worth noting. They'll be, I think, I think we're in round 3 of the lower bracket, which sees them into a much better standing than some of the others down there. And they'll have to wait a little bit till the next game.
Hello, folks. I'm Initialise. That is Nymaera. We are live on twitch.tv/Nymaera_. We are live on the YouTube of Nymaera. We're also live on Onivia's YouTube as well. Thank you for coming and supporting us here on the channel. Appreciate all the gift subs and stuff earlier as well, guys. It really does mean a huge deal to us. That was really good. Sometimes I cannot begin to say how much we love that. Again, we do this out of love for the game, out of love for LPL. We are reliant on all of you back home to help look after us, and it is really, really cool. It's just a big grind, and having you all in here being so engaged does mean the absolute world to us. So thank you for coming and supporting us. Much love. Especially to Alex, who's had a pretty rough run of it, doing an insane amount of games over the last few days.
Yeah, I did 16 games in 2 days on Saturday, Sunday, and then of course yesterday I was on LEC as well. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Of course, it's a pleasure to be able to bring LPL to you. Yeah. Yeah, okay, well, I'm a little bit fried. Are you going to stream as well?
I'm not going to have time. I would otherwise, but I've got a meeting with... Okay.
Cool, all right, enjoy that. So, we'll end the stream there, folks. Thank you for joining us. And, yeah, I hope that you enjoy the coverage that we bring you. If you're on YouTube, the show will end here. And otherwise, on Twitch, we'll radio up to someone else.